It's your boy, Expert Gamer X01, Naruto Kyuubi. Did I change the name for all of them? I don't think I did. Well, I think YouTube says Saturday, but I don't care. It's today. And I don't know why I just want to learn, bruh. All I ever do is want to learn. If I'm not learning enough from Overwatch 2, it doesn't matter. All I want to do is learn. And so we have like the engineering that runs the digital world. How do CPUs work? Because I've watched one video on how CPUs work. I could not explain it to you guys. I went through the Navy. They taught me how a CPU works. I could not explain it to you guys. I tried to get down and redo my own research on it. I could not explain it to you guys. And guess what? Back in 2010, 2012-ish era, I still could not explain it to anybody. But it works. Something like using an NPN junction or NJTP GTMP fucking junction, you have a way to activate and gate a transistor to allow electricity to flow. Correct? Yes, correct. And that somehow makes you pop out with a 1 or a 0. Correct. But how do you make the thing do this? How does the NPN junction work? How does the PNP junction work? You have positive material, negative material, positive material. You're going to see it in this video. They will bring it up in this video. I still don't know how to explain this. It doesn't make sense to me. And so I have to do another video on how to figure it out. Because I need to be taught again. I was taught for 2 days in the Navy on how to fucking learn this shit. One 30-minute video didn't work, and another 30-minute video probably isn't going to work. But the least I could say is I tried. So explain to me, because they'll get down to the basics, how does a silicon that you boronate and you also add another atom allow you to make an NPN junction besides making a silicon boron silicon atom, right? Making one of those molecular bonds, you make a junction on the 3 nanometer level, right? That's very thin. Those are atoms, but they're somehow building them that thin. Bing bong, meep, 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 meep. Bing bong, meep, 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 meep. Hello, burrito chicken. I don't know how CPUs work. I can explain. I've been explaining to them like the PNP junction and how it's like how we got down to 3 nanometers thick, and the reason why we were able to do it was because of the silicon boron, I think it is, and silicon boronation, as you would do it for the silicon disk. I've now found something that has bothered the fuck out of me. Same. CPUs bother me. What bothers you, burrito? Let your man know. Speak up. Bring it out. Preach to the choir. Something about our welding arc ideal working? No, definitely not. Something about chickens not being burritos? I don't know. What we got? What we got? Ah. Also, thank you for stopping by the stream. Of course, I love when you guys stop by the stream. It means a world to me. I guess some of you guys catch as a VOD, but and then sometimes stop by the stream afterwards, which is kind of cool. It's kind of cool too. That's nice. So if you're on YouTube, go catch me on Twitch. Yeah, I'm not as lively on YouTube. And also, YouTubers, chat more if you're there. I actually don't check my numbers for YouTube. I only check my numbers Twitch. So I don't know if you're actually there or not. I only know who's in my Twitch chat sometimes. But I should. Alright, we start the video.
Desktop computer, smartphone, gaming console, any other device you use on a daily basis. in this video,
CUP,
for a powerful
TCU.
is built with billions of nanoscopic transistors connected together using dozens of layers of wire.
All right. So now I'm getting how they communicate and how the ones and zeros and AND gates and NAND gates. So the lead vocalist for Battle Beast, Nora Luhimo, she has this like slight thing to her voice. I can't figure out what she's doing, and I'm gonna go apeshit if I can't figure it out soon. Musicians, assemble! Take me to YouTube Music. No, go back. Take me to YouTube Music. You're gonna start, aren't you?
Every desktop computer
Pause! Pause! Ugh, scroll down. Ugh. Sorry, I'm bourbon, guys. Like, ugh. Best song I can find to showcase is Armageddon, the Circus of Doom album. Armageddon. Battle Beast? Weird. Her tongue. Hello, Bobby Love Falcon. Welcome to the stream. Another song is Beyond the Burning Sky. She kind of like seems, she screams a lot from the top of her voice. Like a lot. Like I was thinking like maybe she was like get down, but it's more like get down. You know what I mean? Like a lot of it's high. She's just singing from the top of her, like instead of singing from down here, get down, get down is up here. You know? See the truth in the you're mesmerized by the sights and the lights in the darkest of night, despite your own destruction. Yeah, like something up higher. Which it could be that she naturally sings like that, but I feel like she probably... You can feel that she almost switches between both styles. Get down! Yeah, she's singing so high up here, and she's like, rawr, rawr, rawr. Like, say like rawr, but like at the top of your voice. Rawr! Destruction! And then you start adding some notes to it. Destruction! Destruction! Like, kind of like push it really hard, force your vocal cords to squeeze. Get down! Yeah, style is addictive on my ears. Who else does something like that? I think it was or not Orthrio. Who is working with DA Games? Also, JT Machinima works with it. If you're looking for rap, what happens when they get revived? So you want to, but that's guys. I don't know many girls that do that style actually. A lot of it like rock and roll legends usually for females. A lot of rock and roll legends would do it because it's a very hard like it's usually a rock and roll like vocal style. I'd say for males. So females just took it and they did really well with it. The Yogscast, Simon. I know it sounds odd. Why would I bring up a Minecraft YouTuber? But he sings similar to this. This is how he talks and sings, actually. He's the only one who I know is naturally close to this. There are other people. Yeah. This is pretty cool. This is pretty funny. I was like, wow. I was like, you remind me of all these funny people that make me think of like childhood trying. Also, when kids first try, a lot of times they go, they try to hit a rock and roll note like, wow! To me, it sounds like it could be very harsh on the voice, which is even more insane for her just belting this shit out. At first, yes, but when you get tuned to it, you just start being able to go as high as you want doing the same style. But you need to tune your voice to being able to do it. Your body's not naturally going to be able to do this. But if you were to force your body to, like, she made I bet if I go listen to all of her other songs, they sound very similar to her vocal tones in this. And she tuned her voice just slightly off to make this what she always wanted. You know what I mean? Like she gets to sing how she wants to, where it's kind of a little easier. There are things that she could do that makes it harder. Yes, of course. Every musician could always make the music harder, but why would you make the music harder when you can make it easier for yourself so you can hit the note every single time instead of having to do 2 billion takes? And then you hold off on that note for your performances. You know what I mean? So like your performances like wouldn't sing like this. She would sing better. But this sounds like she really did her best to hit almost every note, but it doesn't feel like she was wow! Like there was like more of it in her. I felt like there was a lot of muted tones because again, the musician didn't do this. What happens is it goes through processing. And then when it gets processed out, they remove all the bass of it. And when they compress all that and get rid of all the bass range, it kind of just makes it sound. It gets rid of the ow! Like from Michael Jackson. It wouldn't sound, it'd just be like, ow! You see what I mean? That's what kind of editing goes into this stuff. So I think that she has more, and I would have loved to hear less editing on her vocals. Just because that. But that could be a choice of hers to make it edited and auto-tuned very well, extremely well, to make it sound professional. But I don't know how many musicians really think that hard. I'm not thinking that hard. The hardest I think of is how am I going to voice how am I going to make my voice what I want? If I can sing every single style, and if I push myself hardest, I can hit the high notes, then what style do I want? Try Beyond the Journey says she seems to go low and do the same effect. Ow! Fine. I'll do one more song. I do want to learn about CPUs today. It is a sad Sunday. Beyond the burning skies. Yeah, because this girl's making me lose it. Love it. Huh. Sky. You said she went lower this. She had a higher high and a lower low, yeah, but at first I wasn't expecting a high high, but she's singing from the top of like she was when she was singing, she was singing here, where I have to sing here, and when she went to hit the high note, I went all the way up here, and I was like, ugh! I was like, what the fuck? Also, I have a little cold right now. That is kind of difficult. Sky. Sky. Yeah, you'd have to work that note up. I'd have to work it up. I could hit that. I don't know what. There's something unnerving about her face. Feels like she'd actually grab me by my head and just slap me on the ground and step on me. You know what I mean? Are we sure? I don't think it's only Finnish women that want to slam men on the ground. Yo! Wait, no way was Finland part of the fucking USSR ever. No way. No way, no way were my boys, my peoples. They were like, I thought the Finnish people were cool. Not USSR. The Russian Empire, my brothers. That's why Russia wanted Finland in World War II, since they were Russian IRC. Huh. Huh. Also, you see what I mean about her lows? Her lows kind of just sound like somebody singing the low. Not a lot of like grumble in it. Not a lot of grit. Kind of nice. It reminds me of Sleep Token, like how he sings so low, but he harmonizes. She's harmonized well. And if you don't see it, like she uses her bass range, and then her bass range is the same note as if she were to go up an octave, and then she has the same note if she goes up an octave. I swear I hear faint something in it. Oh. Are you talking about this? You're talking about this low section, right? Because this is different than. Like, this is different than when she does this low. This low. Sun, burning eyes. But she's just dropping the rasp down to her. Bottom. She's dropping it down here. Right? She goes up here. I go down here. And then she's trying to drop down to here from, like, somewhere around here for me. And then you just go, show me on the other part of futures. You know, just a little, just scream lower. Honestly, if you want to, get your mic, add just a tiny bit as auto-tune. Like right now, when I'm singing through the mic, you're hearing a lot more auto-tune for it, but it kind of takes it and it kind of makes it really almost like animatronic out. Future. I brought it up higher, but future. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Something like that, like, oh yeah. And then take that and then start making, oh yeah. And then try to like hit it with a note. Oh yeah. Beyond the future. You could even try to drop it a little bit lower, you know? Because you are not her. Don't forget that. Whenever you sing someone else's song, you are not them. If you're trying to sing exactly like them, you're doing right. You're doing what everyone else is doing. But if you want to be a musician, you need to be able to sing it from you. You know what I mean? Make it your song. Who's the one singing it? You are. So don't sing like them. You may be able to take elements like decode the scream. What was it? All I wanted was you. But you wouldn't want to keep yourself up there. You'd want to bring yourself. All I wanted was you. You know what I mean? That's more me. So you. All I wanted was you. Maybe that's something that you could do a little bit easier. Yeah, the mechanics of it was what's making me lose and how it was a mystery. She adds a lot more rasp. Her whole vocal range is a lot rasp. It's a lot of vibrato, and then brought together with closing the throat. Yeah. We'll play around with it. When you're in the car, you know, because you don't really like singing at home. Wait until you get in the car and then just start playing around with it. I got that easily, but the rest had no idea. Same with the rasp going up top, which was the same in the other song. She was still using it in this song again. Like I said, she uses it as a tool, but that song felt like it was dedicated towards like it was meant to have that in it. This one feels like it's meant to kind of bring up her notes and be able to be singable, you know? Like if I was at a bar, this seems like a song I could sing and would listen to frequently. But like the other one sounds like it may get a little annoying to people's ears, especially if you're singing it, because you wouldn't get the same auto-tune and the rasp as her. So it wouldn't sound as right. Yeah, I ain't trying to obliterate my voice with high rasp just yet. Hey, high rasp never killed anybody, all right? My vocals, I had a rasp day where all I did was do raspy shit. You can do it, and it won't kill your voice. People are lying to you. Practice. You just heard me do rasp for the last 10 minutes. If I could do rasp for 10 minutes, then you could do rasp for 30 minutes. I'm gonna be number one. First death. No! No! Bad statistics. All my niggas living. Hell yeah. Welcome to the future. Bit you sing on a daily. Just because I sing on a daily basis doesn't mean that I still don't suffer the same problems. Like I was stretched, like I was outside singing in the cold, cleaning the car, and my voice wouldn't hit the notes I wanted to because I have a cold. Perfect time for me to perfect time for me to cough. But if you haven't heard, for the last 3 days, I've been sniffling a lot. And besides just the lithium makes me sniffle enough. Fucking getting a cold makes me sniffle double time. Now, if I was doing something else, you would definitely know because there would be fucking sniffing 24/7. But this one's, it's just normal. You are attuned to it, ho. I ain't attuned to hella singing. It's not, no. No. What you need to do is go take yourself out for a training lesson every day for 1 hour. Don't do it like while working. Do your work singing, do your normal singing, and then go out and train your voice to sing with rasp for 1 day. If you do it 1 day with 1 hour of your day doing it, you will achieve being able to sing in a rasp. Si, senor. How's it going, Googie? Oh, look at my chat. Everyone's coming out to say hi. Oh my god, Googie, if you had seen how Googie was playing last night, bro, Burrito, you need to go give Googie a follow. He's actually really fucking good. And also, Googie, Burrito Chick is absolutely amazing at Dead by Daylight. Maybe you could drop a follow to him. You know what I mean? You guys can help each other out. Because, like, honestly, like, watching, I think it was it last night or was it the night before? You and Kage Sins and Uncle Pepe? Was that last night? Night before. Bro, you guys were going in. That was impressive. I was actually considering doing it again tonight, not gonna lie. What, singing? You're thinking about singing tonight? Oh, Dead by Daylight. Okay. And you'll be on in a bit, Googie? I won't be streaming. I don't even know if I'm playing Overwatch 2. I just wanted to go watch it and see how I'll show you my singing. Sounds good. Otherwise than that, I was trying to watch a video on how do CPUs work. I've tried 4 or 5 times now to learn CPUs. I still don't understand them down to the last function, so I'm gonna do another research on it. But otherwise than that, I'm not sure if I'm overwatching or anything. I don't think I'm doing much tonight. Flopped on bed at like 8 p.m. and blinked and woke up at fucking 11 a.m. Yeah, I think I went to bed early last night. And then after I went to bed early, I woke up and I was like, damn, bro. I woke up at a normal time, like 9:11 a.m. All right, 9:11 a.m. Yeah, that was when I woke up. I looked at my fucking medicine thing, took my medicine, and I just like said, fuck it, I'm gonna get up. And I got up. And then I went to go make myself a sandwich. And I made myself a sandwich and I came upstairs. Then I watched some more videos, and then I went downstairs, and then I shoveled and sang and cleaned the car. And then now I'm here. Made some chicken noodle soup. And I'm still tired, boss. I was done. And I was still tired, boss. The fuck is this shit? I can't live a day and go to bed and wake up not tired. What the fuck, coach? Send someone else in. I can't work today, bro. What the fuck? It might be because of the cold. It's getting cold. Maybe it's because of all the violence in Michigan. Yo, they removed 4 McDonald's from fucking Michigan, bruh. They're getting rid of more McDonald's. I slept fucking 15 hours or some shit. Nah, that's never good enough.
Laptop or practically any other device you use.
My man thought that was good enough. I'm awake for 6.
Or central processing unit. And in this video,
bro, I am wide awake. This is the best amount of sleep I've ever had in weeks. It was perfect. I actually fell asleep. I didn't have any dreams this time, but I fell asleep and I woke up and I was like, damn, bro.
And is essentially the brain of the device.
I realized that this is how they make the matrix of the NAND and XOR, XNOR, NOR, and OR gates. Because they'll take 2 transistors on this little pad right here, right? From these levels of these transistors. And then they'll take these networks and put them on them. And won't only put 1 copper wire, we'll put 100 copper wires to each transistor, but also have them communicate with the transistor over here. So the copper wire goes here, here, and also comes back over here, and then also goes into this mass network of shit here, right? And so I figured out, I'm like, oh, and that's all for gating purposes, let alone what electricity is actually flowing, but it's showing a flow of electricity after it gates, and you're like, oh, it makes more sense now. This cancerous, but I probably should hop on over to the other house. I hate this.
But before we
What other
explore
house?
the microprocessor and all its complexity, let's travel to the early days of personal computers.
But you still can't explain to me how
and
NPN junction works.
compare the Apple IIe from 1983 to the modern-day MacBook Pro.
Um,
Inside the Apple IIe, we find a chip called a
Well, you could.
6502,
I probably
which is
should.
considered
Or is it
one
just
of
to
the
say
great
hello, or is it
grandparents
like,
of
do you
all
have better
modern
stuff?
processors. This chip is built
Oh,
from
what the fuck?
4,528 transistors.
I mean, you are in a place of violence, so yeah, make sure to house sit and please be
30,000
safe.
calculations a second. While it could only run primitive applications in video games with simple
I worry about you over there sometimes when I
this
think about it.
chip was the
Be safe.
backbone of a generation of early computers and video game consoles, such as the NES, the Commodore 64, and the Atari. Compare that
The
to MacBook
dude,
Pro's
I heard somebody's car in your fucking state got jacked right next to the mayor's office. No, the mayor's house, not the mayor's office, the mayor's house. And they were a political. I'm in a white neighborhood. They were in the mayor's neighborhood, and they still got carjacked. What do you mean? You're not safe anywhere. I feel scared every time you leave that fucking house. Has it got better? 6 months ago, that's when all this started happening. Like 6 months ago, all this like revelation came through. No one like political figures, but like Michigan, I think. I thought you lived in Michigan. Where's the? Oh yeah, Chicago.
So apparently McDonald's.
This is not only in Chicago, this is in
getting rid of
Michigan.
McDonald's in Chicago.
I am in Michigan, but that's as a state hoe.
Okay. Check out all those golden.
Isn't Illinois and then it's Michigan, Illinois, and then Chicago, Illinois, right? But this whole thing he had brought up.
He might ask for your receipt later so he can use it for his rewards. This
Usually there's like homeless people near McDonald's.
I'm gonna say it again. Great thing. This is the first time it is. It's crazy because we used to do things that were on the opposite side.
Why McDonald's and
Black people, yeah, but it was mainly white.
This year, 1 million people came down, $280 million in
liquor and mouth-watering Mexican food.
Remember him? A real winner there.
I think it was this woman.
deficit.
Hard to try to
Weekend, according to
are making continued
play crimes. Yeah, because the thing is, I don't know how bad that is. 6%. No, I want to know what
you
we're gonna
guys
do.
a couple
Let's call all the people that call. Roach it in.
how crime is not happening here in the city.
Lock the. So it's too. No, it's me. No, dude. They.
Damn. Give me a second. When did he mention the mayor? '22. Oh wait.
and that city has a chance to change things. Let's see how that's going.
And the fact of the matter is, Mayor Johnson has 99 problems, and President Trump is not one of them. There's the...
No, it's this guy. He hates white people. I know him. He's the one. He says that he was the one that says that he hires
They
black people
mention
because black people are more generous. than
robbing
white people. Remember him?
in white
Real winner
name.
there.
Robbing When did they
$988
mention
million budget deficit that's
carjacking?
And he's going off on President Trump. Like, you can't even keep a McDonald's open. You got people that are pillaging the
2016.
McDonald's and you're mad at Donald Trump? The guy threw a rolling in the window. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Wait.
You know what?
Man,
Let's go look at this. I want to show you guys. Not gonna lie, I may get food on the way to the other house. My mom has something to do and doesn't fall over dead in sleep.
God dang.
A whole ass state that has 10 mil people. That
Talk
Michigan.
about how crime is down. Yes, crime is down.
Look at that.
What is that? What the fuck is that? Is that an armadillo?
Is that an armadillo?
Last year, but not down so much that you could be somewhere bragging how crime
I'm in
is
Michigan,
not
but that's
happening.
as a state, ho. A whole ass state that has 10 mil people. That's Michigan. Not gonna lie,
So much that you
just make sure.
small to talk about how crime is down. Yes, crime is down a little.
It's a rock. The guy threw a rock in there. I get it now.
Amount of what it was
It's a
last
rock, and you got somebody crawling in. So he threw the rock through the window.
16 seconds, they
and now
mention what
he's
I'm talking about.
reaching in through the hole. Oh my God.
year, but not down so much that you could be somewhere bragging about how crime is not happening here in the city.
No, I
I
wanna know
told
what
you
he's gonna
guys a couple of months ago, my husband was literally carjacked in front of our house, and I live 3 blocks from the mayor. So don't tell me about how crime is down and that the citizens of Chicago are.
Well, this is Chicago, not Michigan, but same difference. Right?
I just got, we got, I think I like that word, the Nevrons. I should just call all the people that cause these problems, just everybody, like, just call them Nevrons. That's just the word, bro. Like, he just walks in, yeah. Goblins, yeah, exactly.
Happy with this administration, and we're happy with what we're seeing because we're not. You're the same mayor that we was unhappy with in 2020.
It's not even locked.
When I first started on this platform,
It's so dumb.
nothing has changed about that.
Look at this guy helping himself right here. The restaurant's register right here. But you know, it's hard
It's free loot.
for a mayor.
Trust, I ain't hearing any ghetto ass from run yo shit levels of fuckery in my areas on Michigan. Also, got a coworker who wants to go back to Chicago and be a police officer there.
I mean, so you didn't lock the door, you didn't lock the fucking cash register, and this
Chirac?
guy's just going in on it.
You know, I think you meant to push Chirac now. When I really think about it, I bet you did.
Money? Like, I never worked in one of these jobs before, but aren't you supposed to put the money in the safe?
You either put it in the safe, or you count out and you put it into the till.
Doing their thing without any fear of retribution from a justice system. But here's the thing: if people are leaving the city because of crime, where is this crime happening?
Someone actually brought this up because me and my friend were thinking about robbing a.
Is a song? Meek Mill. Well, True or Die, Chirac, Streets of Power. Yo! Look at that one. Oh, you can't see it. Look at that one. Step into the gritty and unforgiving streets of Chicago with True or Die, Chirac, Streets of Power. You can play your own city, bro. Go play in your city. I don't know why I pulled this all up. I think that was all just to make a ploy.
M1 processor which is built from 16 billion transistors capable of performing around 3 trillion calculations a second, thus enabling it to generate expansive 3D worlds with immersive graphics. Despite these two chips being released around 45 years apart, the underlying principles of how they work are rather similar. In a way, you can think of these devices as sharing a common section of technological DNA. In fact, if we were to open up a desktop computer and grab the CPU or the GPU inside the graphics card, or tear down a Nintendo Switch or smartphone and find the System on a Chip or SoC, or even if you could make your way into an AI data center and grab a state-of-the-art AI chip, you'd find that all of these processors operate using the same underlying principles. In other words, both the Oregon Trail of 50 years ago and advanced AI algorithms run on processors with similar technological DNA. But of course, one of these chips is 10
What food do you think I
billion
should grab?
times more
Not
computationally
McDonald's. I heard you
powerful
people get
than
robbed
the
at
other.
McDonald's even in Michigan.
So in this
So,
video, we're going to take apart this
Burger King?
microprocessor and find out exactly
I just
what
I like
the
Burger
shared
King. I would say if you want to grab
technological
something,
DNA is
McDonald's or
and how it enables
Chipotle
CPUs to work. And just
or
to be clear, the technological
got Taco Bell.
DNA is
You might
not
shit yourself a little bit, but
transistors,
Taco Bell's fucking
and
good.
it's not logic gates. CPUs to work. And just to be clear, the technological DNA is not transistors and it's not logic gates.
MPN junction.
But rather it's an
What is that
architectural
thing?
design and basic operation logic gates. But rather
That's a
it's an
logic gate?
architectural design and basic
Is that the
operational principle
Is that the
that's
NGTMP?
fundamental to microprocessors and differentiates these chips from other integrated circuits. So stick around and let's dive right in.
Hold up.
Circuits. So
Oh my god. They did teach me this shit. Zero zero 1 1 goes into this, which gives it a 1, a 1, a 1, 0. I don't even know. This is hard.
stick around and let's dive right in.
Like Waffle House light.
This video is sponsored
She
by
gets a Waffle
Google.
House.
Let's begin with a quick 3D animated teardown.
I know, I'm telling you to go to a more dangerous place, but I've never seen people fighting in Waffle House.
We find a range of different components such as the touchpad, battery cells,
I've only heard about it.
speakers, a cooling fan, and the motherboard in the center. Mounted to the motherboard are the solid-state drive or SSD storage chips, where all your files are saved, and a range of other chips. Underneath the heat pipe, we find the DRAM, which is the short-term working memory and central processing unit. Let's desolder the DRAM and CPU and open it up.
Nah,
Inside, we
let's
find
not go to
heat
Waffle
points.
House.
On the top is a
Damn.
protective cover that
I know it's a
conducts
south
and
thing, but
dissipates heat.
I didn't think. No,
On the
Ohio's
bottom is an interposer with thousands of
up north.
connection points on either side and wires running inside of it. And soldered onto the interposer is the integrated circuit, or IC, which is also called a die, and is the functional part of the CPU. On the die, we can see the complex design of billions of transistors and wires organized into different sections, such as the 4 high-performance computational cores, 4 energy-efficient cores, graphics processing cores, cache memory, and
Oh!
many other sections. Let's zoom
Hey, don't go too fast.
cores, cache memory, and
Show me
many
everything
other
first.
sections. Let
So, PCIe link, USB buffer. Is this the threads? Does every single... I don't think every single CPU has this. I think some of them don't have GPU cores, and they just have a bunch of performance cores here. Hardware accelerator. Yep. Media engine. What? Is this like a whole GPU right here?
Zoom in on one of the performance
E-cores are gay.
where we find that it's separated into different functional
Why are E-cores gay, huh, Burrito? I like my E-cores. I love all my cores. They're all special. Even though E-cores are the most special of the cores.
How data and instructions move around a single processing core in the CPU. And, although it's rather complicated, you'll understand how it works by the end of this video. But for now, let's zoom in even further to get a nanoscopic view of a massive multi-layer labyrinth of wires with the transistors at the very bottom. Here we see a group of 6 transistors that are wired together to build an AND logic gate. And in this view, we can see around 600...
AND means 1, 1. Alright? Do you know what a NAND gate is? I'll even do some... I'm going to do special for you guys. I'll do something I have never done on stream yet. Alright? We're going to draw. Draw my D-pad as much as I can. Y'all ain't ready for this. Gear 5600X doesn't, for example, doesn't have it, and because the cores run like dick and rare, borderlines useless in anything Vortex and the browser the internet. I don't remember. I don't think we have any more E. Do we have any E cores anymore? I thought we only had B cores. Performance. Need to be good. All right. Lessons with me. So we got multiple gates. We got your AND gate. Well, this one looks more like a NOR gate. So I'll draw you an AND gate down here, of course. It looks like a bullet. AND gate. You have 2 of these electrics coming out, right? To get an AND gate. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. MS Paint, bro. Terrible with me. To get this to output a 1, you will have to put a 1 here and a 1 here. If there is no 1 here and instead there's a 0, this would output, guess what? Because it's an AND gate and needs both of these to be activated, it will output a 0. Alright? And then we have OR gates. It means that if either and or are right now being let's see, let's pull this out. Or alright. This is drawing. This is drawings number 101, baby. We are learning logic boards today. And you have this baby out. To get this to output a 1, you can either put a 1 here and have a 0 come in here. You could have both of these say 1. Or you could have a 0 on top and a 1 on bottom. But if both of these were to put out 0, this OR gate would then output a 0. And oh gosh. I could tell you guys the names. And then you have a XNOR gate, right? That one has a curved bottom. Curved bottom. And then you have a tip, like an arrow. To get this one to output, because it's a NOR gate, not a XNOR, a NOR gate. I think either 0s can be put here, or 1s can be put here, I believe. Let me go double check a NOR gate, because I don't fully fucking remember NOR gate. NOR gate. Fundamental digital output signal 0 if any inputs are high 1, and only outputs of high signal 1 are put out. Let me. Let's see. If it's a 0, 0, it'll put out 1. If it's 0, 1, it'll put out 0. If it's a 1, 0, it'll put out 0. If it's a 1, 1, like I said, it'll put out 0. You see how I mean? So there's 2 openings and there's 2 gated there's 2 non-openings and there's 2 gated on moments for a NOR gate. And then you're gonna have your XNOR gate. I got my 3,000 McDonald's points. I mean, you could definitely use there, but can't be bothered to engineer it right and just cop out answer it. Because Intel uses them. Because gay and want to say big number, but can't be bothered to engineer right and just cop out answer it. I got one. And no, I said I shouldn't be eating fat, but I only had like leftover half a hamburger and some shrimp Alfredo. I say you eat whatever whenever your body tells you to eat. If you're not hungry, there's no eat. Oh my god, this looks so bad. So both of these are 0, I'll output a 1. Both these 1, and I'll put a 1. If one's 0 and one's 1, it'll output a 0. And if it's 1 or 0, it'll output a 0. The stomach fiending for food. Fiend. And then there's also a NAND gate. Which means that if it will gate on if they're not 1s and they're not 0s. So if it's a 0-1 situation ever, it will gate. Or if it's a 1-0, it will gate. But if it was, you know, like an AND gate, when it adds 1 and 1, it outputs a 0. Unlike this AND gate, which is an AND. Don't forget, it has curved front, curved. If your butt is curved inwards and your chest is pumped out, you are a NAND. You have an N because your ass is curved in. If you're just an AND or an OR gate, then you have a flat bottom. Ain't nobody get a dumpy truck. Alright? Nobody's got a dump truck. We either got large bosoms or we have pointed chest. Don't forget that. Alright, but there's more. There's more. There's an OR, there's an AND, there's AND. But I don't want to get about that. That's complicated. Don't save. There you go. Now run me my cash. They teach a day for $200.
150 transistors out of the total 16 billion that make up the overall chip. Understanding how billions of transistors work together to build a CPU capable of playing video games, watching movies, or browsing the internet will take a bit of work. So let's start with an analogy. You may have heard that CPUs are like super powerful.
Thank you for running me my money, because I'm teaching.
Only around 20% complete, as it's missing some critical parts.
The Navy told me that I have to pay them back.
To make a more accurate analysis.
I have to take a piss really bad. Really, really bad. Don't leave. I'm back. Radio you weren't ready for. I figured out what the E-cores are. The E-cores are literally separated from every other transistor and only have the certain connections to the transistors to run stuff like, I'm not pissing my pants, damn it. You guys are lucky I don't ask for donations yet. I just ask for items. I didn't even ask for that. Like, straight up.
First, we'll add a table for
But-
the calculator to sit on.
I forgot to say, efficiency cores would, in theory, be amazing because they would stop the cores from needing to process it. But what they didn't realize is Abel's. I'll get you a second maid outfit. I'll do a Astolfo. That's about the next thing. I don't think. You can give me a black and white maid outfit, and then I'll have both of them, and that'll look like Subaru. Give me something like this. Because the Intel fucking Core Ultra 295 or something has like 8 actual cores and 16 piss baby pork. Why would you have 16 E cores and then 8 performance cores? Why wouldn't you just have a bunch of performance cores and then have people get better coolers? I have an H110i for a fucking reason. I bought this baby knowing it's one of the good coolers. Exactly, the fuck? What am I paying more for? What am I paying more for Intel for? To fuck me over? If I want to get fucked and get paid for it, I go to the Navy. Intel's gay. Yeah. At least serve me dinner before you decide to fuck me. Am I right or am I right? At least with dinner, everything tastes a little sweeter with some wine, and definitely wine and dine me before you definitely take me out. You don't take me to town. But, I can see myself looking good in this. Anything else? No.
Along with a pencil and
How do E-cores work? Smaller, lower CPU designed for background tasks, handles simple jobs like browsing and system processes to perform. So did they find out that if you didn't offload it to the performance cores that it wouldn't go? Okay, all CPU cores are the same built quality. So my question is, what makes them weaker? And why would you run one at a slower process and not run them at a performance process? Sometimes the application can't tell the difference between P and E cores, so it just blindly grabs some cores and and God forbid it's all E cores. That was what my question was. So you answered it. If that's something that happens, then what happens is they use the connections from the performance cores to generate that you're using for the performance cores. They also go to your E cores. Instead of having a whole separate diagram and completely separating the two different ones from each other, you're using one copper cable, which, yes, I get it. There's not enough space to make more copper cables. It's just given less juice or something. Which means that it just requests for less power. But that's stupid. You would want to have the full performance cores so that when you are not using something like... There are moments in times where I'm not streaming, I'm not on Discord, and I'm not on Google, but I'm playing Overwatch 2. I would want all my cores to be performancey cores to activate all at the same time for that one task. You wouldn't want E-cores. They're like, well, the background processes of the Overwatch. What needs to be processed in the background behind Overwatch? They have their own anti-spyware. They have their own anti-hackware. What do I need anything for? Nothing's running. So why am I having E-cores in the background? Yep. They say that this video explains it why. So again, I don't think if you have E-cores, they're good. They're useful. But it'd be better if those 12 to 16 E cores were performance cores. There's no reason to have a lower clocked core other than thermals. Last good Intel CPU was 14th gen. Maybe i9. I remember when i9s were like, I think they did really well. Which is the third. Okay, yeah, 14th. And I thought i9s were 9th gen. No, we had the Pentiums. We had the Xeons. And yeah, Xeons. We had the other two ones. And then I think there was like another one in between the Pentium and the next generation. But then they came out with the i1s. Or was it i3s first? Was it Intel Skylake? The I whatever just signifies give or take how many cores. The I whatever just signifies, yeah.
Of Intel's 12th generation Alder Lake processors.
I mean, for now,
on a sheet of paper. Next,
there's
we'll add
Elder Lake.
rows and rows of bookshelves containing thousands of books, along with a cart that can carry a small stack of books between the shelves and the table. And finally, we'll add an automated robot, which we'll call a control unit or controller. The controller can grab books from the bookshelves, move them to the cart and onto the table, and it can put them back. The controller can also read the contents of each book, write on the paper and in the books, and use the calculator. You can think of the controller as a super fast human, but we're bad at animating humans, so it's a robot instead. And with that, we have all the parts for our analogy. Now, let's see how each part of our CPU analogy works. To start, the bookshelves are the storage devices in your computer, such as
Those are
the
my hard drives.
SSD chips. The cart represents the DRAM, and the table and its contents represent the CPU. On the CPU table, there's a small space for a single open book, which is similar to the very limited capacity of the cache memory inside the CPU itself. Next, the single sheet of paper represents the registers which are used for storing values or numbers that are actively being used. Specifically, on it are 4 general-purpose registers and a few more special locations which we'll discuss in a little bit. Additionally, the pencil is there to write and erase things on the paper and in the books. Finally, the calculator represents the Arithmetic Logic Unit, or ALU. This ALU calculator works using binary, so there are only the digits 0 and 1, and it can do simple functions like add, subtract, or multiply 2 numbers. The ALU calculator has many more functions that you may be...
Whoa, did you see? Guys, remember? Hey, stream. I want you guys to go back 20 minutes when I started talking about XOR/NOR gates and a NAND and OR/NOR. Now, somebody tell me, what has the flat asses? Which one has flat asses? The ones with the flat asses, of course, team is the XOR, the AND, and the OR, which means that the NAND, the NOR, and the XOR, you do. I don't have a flat ass. I got a dump truck in the back. Don't ever come at me like that again, Burrito. I swear to God, I'll slap the pimp shit into you. I'll make sure you understand that this dumpy truck over here can fucking drop on you and fucking kill you in 1 second, mate. I don't think you understand. This is a different type of breed. That's my ass. Respect my ass. And then you have the NOR. I remember what the X was. The X factor here is a 0. They put it makes a 0 going out the other end. So I think the XOR and the XOR allow you to gate on a opposite reaction. So for like OR, instead of gating for 1 0, it would gate for 0 1. Or no, XOR would mean that it gate for 1 1 and 0 0, something like that. But you know, you guys can Google that. Or no, I should probably know what the XOR gate does. So XOR gate is going to be our flat bottom with a tip, pointed out chest. But I forgot what the XOR, the X does actually. I remember there's a. Oh no, the circle is something else. No, 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 no. They didn't add it in that picture. Okay. So let's see. If a 0, 0 is there, it gets a 0, which for an OR gate would make sense. For a 0, 1, it would give you a 1. For a 1, 0, it would give you a 1. And a 1, 1 would give you 0. So it's the same thing as a OR gate. Huh? Oh yeah, so if the gates, okay, before they even come through, right? So if this was a 0, 1, it'd be flipped in the circuit before it even goes to the other side to be a 1, 0. Switch to Taco Bell. I'm feeling more Bell than Clown. I feel you on that. I fucking love me some Taco Bell, bro. Oh my gosh. I don't really have an order anymore, but now I don't want to get up. Well, I don't know how long you get to sit there, but all I'm doing today is this and maybe some Code Lyoko, maybe some Overwatch 2, but I'm not really expecting Overwatch 2. Gotta take care of the dog in an hour 40 minutes, but otherwise than that, it's kind of today. Yeah, but you're chilling with me right now, so I was like, whenever you feel like it, let me know. I'm still gonna continue doing what I'm doing here.
Be unfamiliar with, but are still rather simple. For example, it can
I feel like I'm wrong about the
increase or
dot,
decrease
the
a
circle.
number by 1, or the ALU can perform bit shifts, which is essentially taking a number and adding a 0 to the end of it. In decimal, bit shifting is like multiplying a number by 10, but in binary, it's equivalent to multiplying a number by 2. The ALU can also perform logic functions on 2 numbers, such as the logical
What?
AND, or exclusive OR operations. For example, here is the logical AND operation for 2 binary inputs, and you can see that the output is a logical.
So AND gate is a 1, 0 going in, which means that both of these sides are gonna be 0, 0. This is 1, 1, which means that what? We're going to have an activation, but only on one side of it. So it's gonna be a 0, 1 because it's not this is 2 digits. Everything is playing a 2 digit on the other side, right? So it'll be 0, 0, 0, 1 for an AND gate. And then this is a 1, 0, which means that this be a 0, 1. This is a 1, 1, which means that this is a 1, 0. Wait, no, it shouldn't be a 0, 1.
And for each place value of the 2 inputs. However,
Oh, wait. I'm sorry, stream. I read that wrong. So it's 1, 0, which means that it should be 0 here. This is 0, 0, which means that this should be 0. This is a 1, 0, so this should be 0. This should be 1, 1, so this is a 1. This is a 1, 0, so this will be 0. This is 0, 1, which means that this will be 0. 1, 1, which means this is 1. And 1, 0 means this is 0. The reason why is because, again, AND gate. Imagine if you had your gate here and you had your you have your nice nice rounded breast, of course, if you want to say that, or sharp and your flat bottom. This flat bottom is only going to let you take in, only take in 1, 1 or 0, 0. And there's, what? I thought I'd get it for 0, 0. Does AND negate not get? Oh, no. It only outputs at 1. I was wrong there. I didn't remember that. So the only ones that'd be 1 is 1, 1, and 1, 1.
importantly, the ALU calculator can.
Alright, but let's read this as if it was an OR. So this would be 1. This would be 0. This would be 1. This would be 0. This would be 1, 1, 0, 1.
Perform comparisons. For example, you can input 2 numbers and hit the comparison button to test whether the numbers are equal to one another. And if they are, then an equals flag goes up, while the other comparison flags, like less than or greater than, stay down. Finally, the ALU
Frankly, I want food, but don't want to get up. I should go. I'm just lazy, I guess.
Has a special name
So you
called the
portable, but
accumulator.
I have you on phone.
So now that we've explained
That doesn't
various
matter.
parts of
Usually,
this
some people like to
analogy,
listen to music
how
and
does it
walk to
all
the
work
place they're
together?
going to.
Well, the first step is to load a program that we want to run. which is like moving a set of books from the bookshelves to the cart, and then moving a single book to the table and opening it up. It's important to note that the DRAM cart and cache memory on the table are both temporary and limited capacity locations, whereas the SSD bookshelves can hold a lot more and are semi-permanent long-term storage. Additionally, when the computer is turned off, there are no books in the DRAM or the CPU. But when the computer turns on, the cart and table are very actively shuffling books around. Let's take a look at the contents of one of the books. Essentially, there are two types of pages: instructions and data. You can think of the instructions as the
Walkthrough, that's
directions in a
4p
cookbook, with each
minutes
step
away
numbered
while driving,
sequentially
let alone
across
walking.
the pages. And the pages of data contain a list of
40 minutes
addresses
away
with
while
values
driving.
stored at each address, and are like the ingredients that go into the recipe itself.
Damn.
Similar to cooking.
Yeah, you ain't walking
need
that.
both
And it's
the
this cold,
recipe
you ain't walking
and
that.
ingredients to make it work. And just a few ingredients can be combined in dozens of different ways using different recipes. But to not use an analogy inside another analogy, let's drop the cooking one and focus on the books, table, and calculator. Let's start at the beginning of this program and flip to page 1, instruction 1, which is called a load and is the most common type of instruction. This load has us open the pages of data and find a specific address. We then copy and write down the value stored at that address into one of the general purpose registers on the sheet of paper. With instruction 1 completed, we move to instruction 2, which is to increment the value in register 0 by 1.
Okay.
So we plug the value into the ALU calculator and hit +1. The third instruction, called a store instruction, is used to save or store the output of the calculator found in the accumulator display into the pages of data in the same address it was in before. These simple yet very common instructions are equivalent to this line of code. Next, we move on to instruction 4 and complete it, and then instruction 5 and so on, moving through the list of instructions which goes on and on and on. In order to keep track of which instruction is the next one to be completed, we use one of the special locations on the sheet of paper that we mentioned earlier, called the program counter, or PC, also called an instruction address register or instruction pointer. Since the PC currently has a value of 5, we find instruction 5, complete it, and increase the program counter by 1. Therefore, the next instruction to be completed will be instruction 6. However, what if after
Nah, it's
completing
good.
instruction 6,
It's 16
we
now,
want to jump
actually.
directly to
Nah, it's chill. We
instruction
get to walk.
42?
No wind.
Well, to do this, we use a jump instruction at 7, which
That's what you
directly
believe.
sets the value in the program counter to a new number, and in this case, it's 42. As a result, the sequence of instructions will be 5, 6, 7, which is the jump instruction,
42.
then 42, 43, 44, and so on. A similar set of instructions is called a conditional branch, which is used for implementing if statements, loops, and other conditional code. Let's use an example of a for loop with a few simple lines of code inside of it. Quite simply, this loop is used to repeat the code inside of it 4 times. Here are the corresponding instructions of the for loop, along with the instructions for the code inside of it, and we color-coded each of the elements to keep track of which specific lines of code result in the corresponding instructions. We'll discuss how compilers
I walked 4
turn
miles
code
in
into
20
instruction
degrees 2
later
ways
in
and
this
felt
video,
fine since
but for
no
now,
wind.
let's focus on the for loop and its instructions.
Nah, bro.
Specifically,
Second he drops
here's
lower
where
than 38
I
degrees,
gets
I'll start
set to
fucking
0
freezing.
and stored in an address in the pages of data. Here's where I is loaded from that address and incremented by 1, and here's the contents of the loop. At the top, you can see the 3 instructions: load, compare, and branch greater than or equal to. The load first grabs the value for I and places it into register 0. Compare feeds I stored in register 0 and a value of 4 into the ALU and compares them, resulting in the applicable comparison flags being triggered. Next, branch greater than or equal to checks whether either the greater than or the equals flag is on.
I am
And if it
acclimated.
is, it sets the program counter to 23, which corresponds to completing and leaving.
Still wouldn't want you staying in the cold too
However,
long.
when
You get sick.
I is less than 4, those flags aren't triggered. And
I was in the
loop
cold too long, so I got a cold.
continues until it hits the jump instruction at address 22, where the jump sets the program counter to 6, which corresponds to the top of the for loop. As a result, the loop will repeat a total of 4 times. Note that this code on the left is in C++, whereas the actual instructions completed by your CPU are in a binary language called machine code, and the semi-readable version of the instructions is called assembly. But we modified this assembly a little bit to make it more readable. One interesting note is that you may think that with everything a computer can do, there must be tens of thousands of different instructions. Well, actually,
That's
the
not how it works.
6502 processor and the
What do you
Apple
mean?
IIc
That
from
makes sense to me.
1983 could only complete 56 different instructions, whereas the modern M1 chip in the MacBook Pro can complete 354 instructions. Here's the list of all the instructions each chip can execute. And if you take a good look, most of these instructions are rather simple. Let's just think about that for a second. Every single thing you do on your computer can be constructed using only various sequences of 354 different instructions. However, many programs have millions upon millions of lines of instructions, and hopefully there aren't any bugs in them. So now that we've discussed
Nah,
the range of
only the
possible
worst it can do
instructions,
is
let's
fucking
further
drop
explore
your
how
immune
CPUs
system a
work.
bit.
In order to complete an instruction, there are always 3 key steps: fetch, decode, and execute. The first step is fetch.
My friend could have had a
and is
cold
where
before he
the
came over, but I
controller
wouldn't
uses
expect
the
him to.
value in the program counter to search through the pages of instructions in the book for the corresponding instruction address. The controller then copies the instruction found at that address into a special location called the Current Instruction Register, or CIR. At the same time, the controller increases the program counter by 1. The second step is decode. And in this step, the current instruction is fed into a circuit called the instruction decoder. In our analogy from earlier, this decoder is a key part of the controller, and in essence, it's the circuitry that reads in an instruction and both interprets what the machine code of an instruction actually does and simultaneously produces the control signals to properly execute that instruction. Specifically,
Usually it helps
this
me in cold
instruction
environments for being
decoder
sick,
circuit
but
uses the binary values of the instruction and an incredibly complex
you know, I never Googled that. So I could be wrong. Oh, maybe my grandpa did get me sick. Like hell, I was out in the cold for 10 hours for the past 2 days and I'm okay. Oh,
arrangement of logic gates to produce the corresponding control signals, which are then sent to the different elements in the CPU. Instruction decoders are one of the more complicated parts of the CPU, but
the
here's
more
an
you know.
example along with a simplified explanation. Let's say we have this add instruction in the current instruction register, or
Yeah, I get victimized by ye old
and it's
tales.
fed into the instruction decoder. The first
what I
part
learned
of
as
the
a kid.
binary instruction specifies we want to use the ALU, With the ALU selected, the next 3 bits specify that we want to use the add function, and then the last 4 bits of the instruction indicates we want the values in register 0 and register 1 to be routed and sent to the ALU. Instruction decoding is considerably more complicated than that, but let's move on to the 3rd step, which is execute. During execute, using our example instruction, the control signals
It
from
ain't
the
cold unless it's
instruction
negative.
decoder and an intricate set of electrical timing signals are used to first send the value in register 0 and
Nah,
then the
could be
value
me.
in register 1 to the ALU.
Cold as fuck.
The timing signals are used to accommodate the time it takes
Like
electricity
20
to
degrees
travel
outside.
from
It's
the
cold as fuck.
registers to the ALU, and for transistors and logic gates to change their state, thereby ensuring the correct result at the output. After the values are input, the ALU adds the 2 numbers together, and a subsequent timing signal saves the result into the accumulator, thus completing the execute step. These 3 steps, fetch, decode, and execute, are used to complete a single line of instructions, and once it's completed, these steps repeat, but using the new value in the program counter. In essence, fetch, decode, and execute form a cycle, so let's run through it again. During fetch, the controller uses the program counter's value to fetch the corresponding instruction and places it in the CIR, and the program counter increases by 1. Next, during decode, the instructions binary is fed into the instruction decoder, where a complex set of logic gates generate the correct electrical control signals for that instruction. Finally,
What's that look
during
for, gamer?
execute, the instruction is
What look?
completed using the control signals and timing signals, and in this case, the value in the accumulator is stored back into a memory address which, using the analogy, is like writing the value from the calculator display into a data location in the book. Then the fetch, decode, execute cycle repeats again.
You know what it
using
is,
the
little
next
shit?
program counter's value, and so on. The fetch, decode,
I don't know what you're
execute cycle
talking
is
about.
used
I'm
in
just-
every processor, no matter whether it's the 6502 in the Apple IIe or the M1 in the MacBook Pro. But of course, there are many differences, such as the size of the cache, the registers, or functions on the ALU calculator, and much more. We'll explore the exact differences in a few minutes, but for
Nah,
now,
nah,
one
20
important
degrees is cold,
detail
bro.
is that the fetch, decode,
Anything less than
execute
38
cycle
degrees is cold.
uses your computer's clock to regulate its pace.
If I can see ice outside, it's cold.
The 6502 chip had a 1 megahertz clock, which ticked away at 1,000,000 times a second, and thus each step in the fetch, decode, execute cycle took a microsecond. Additionally, the 6502 was an 8-bit processor, meaning the size of the registers in the ALU's input and output were 8 bits wide. On the other hand, the M1 chip
Or
is a
64 now.
64-bit processor, so it can handle much larger numbers, and it uses a 3.2 gigahertz clock, and therefore each step takes a third of a nanosecond. Additionally, the M1 chip, along with all modern chips, uses a technique called pipelining, where multiple instructions are queued up, resulting in fetch, decode, and execute for different program counter values and different instructions being completed at the same time. There are many other optimizations in modern processors that we'll soon discuss, but it's important to understand that from the second you turn on your laptop, smartphone, gaming console, GPU, or AI server, to the second you shut it off, the processor is continuously cycling through fetch, decode, execute over and over, using programs filled with instructions and data along with the CPU's clock to regulate its pace.
What you on
In
about,
essence,
fucking
this fetch,
Texan?
decode,
Weak,
execute
no thermal
cycle is
resistance?
the common section of
Bro,
technological DNA
I'll go outside in
that
20-degree
has
weather.
powered every
Still
single
fucking
processor
cold.
built over
I'll
the
go out
past
in
50
negative 20-degree
years.
weather. It's still
Each cycle
fucking
of
cold.
steps is
Someone will be like, "It's
incredibly
freezing." I'm like, it's
capable
fucking
of
cold.
performing
I am tempered
trillions
to
of
the cold.
mathematical
I had
operations
thermal
every
resistance.
second
It's
in a
still
single
fucking
time.
cold. Just
But
because
you
I
may
got
be
stabbed
wondering,
doesn't mean
are
it doesn't
there
hurt
alternatives
if
to
I'm
the
not
fetch,
screaming.
decode,
It just means that,
execute cycle?
oh,
Well,
I'm
there's a
attuned to the
world of
pain.
different kinds of
It's still
microchips,
happening.
but specifically,
It's not like I'm not
alternatives
bleeding.
include application-specific
If you're freezing, you're
integrated
freezing.
circuits, or ASICs. such
20
as
is
these
fucking jeans and
microchips found in
t-shirt.
this Bitcoin mining
You
computer,
can.
or field programmable
I wear
gateways,
my normal
or
clothing throughout the weather
FPGAs,
until it
which
hits
are the
like
main chips
20
in a
degrees.
number of
You're right,
automotive
like 20
computers
degrees.
and
I wear my
cameras.
normal clothing. Then I
Both
start
ASICs and
buckling up.
FPGAs don't use the fetch and
Like
decode steps,
it's
but
like it was
rather
like
they perform
20,
repetitive
like
operations by
17 to
flowing
20
data
when I
through
got
a
up this
set
morning.
pattern of logic gates and execution units,
When I went to
making
work
them
on the car, it was like
highly
22,
optimized,
25,
but
and I was like,
very
man, I don't feel like being
inflexible.
cold. So I put
And
this
then
on
even
and my
further
jacket,
from these
and I was
chips
warm.
are quantum computers, which are based on qubits and quantum circuits, which we'll discuss in future videos.
Oh baby, look at this. We talking quantum computing, baby.
Understand that from the second you turn on
Oh.
your laptop,
Yeah, I wear a jacket at
smartphone,
like 20.
gaming
I'm hot as
console,
fuck.
GPU or AI server, to the second you
I used to
shut it
be,
off,
but
the processor is
that's after I started
continuously
smoking cigarettes
cycling
and
through fetch,
like after
decode,
smoking
execute
cigarettes for so long, my
over
body
and
stopped being so
over,
hot.
using programs filled
So
with
now I'm colder.
instructions
I used to
and
smoke
data,
cigarettes and be like, damn, I'm
along with
fucking
the CPU's
freezing.
clock to
And instead of being
regulate
really
its
warm.
pace. In
That
essence,
sucks.
this fetch, decode, execute cycle is the common
I typically am
section
too.
of
But then
technological
don't be like
DNA
me.
that
Don't start
has
smoking
powered
cigarettes.
every single processor
You start
built
smoking
over
cigarettes in the
past
first year,
50
you'll notice your
years.
temperature will go down.
This cycle of steps is
You won't
incredibly
think it will,
powerful,
but it will.
capable of performing
Well, doesn't
trillions
nicotine
to
lower heart rate?
quadrillions of mathematical operations every second in a
Nicotine causes blood vessels in extremities to constrict now, causing vasoconstriction, reducing blood flow and heat loss to the environment. The constriction driven by the release of norepinephrine, making it harder for the body to dissipate heat, leading to cooler skin despite potentially increased core temperatures from nicotine's other effects. So yeah, you just drop temperature. It gives it more time to go against to exhaust off your body, and also so it makes you a lot more. It doesn't heat you up as fast as you are exuding heat, so you start being colder. So yeah, lower heart rate. But also just vasoconstriction causes the lower heart rate.
Alternatives include application-specific integrated circuits.
Yeah,
or
but it causes
ASICs,
low
such
heart
as
rate
these
at the same time.
microchips found
What
in
you
this
said.
Bitcoin
You're not wrong.
mining
It's
computer,
just there's a
or
step.
field
And if it's a
programmable
step,
gate
then you were
arrays,
still there.
or FPGAs, which are the main chips in a number of automotive computers and cameras. Both ASICs and FPGAs don't use the fetch and decode steps, but rather they perform repetitive operations by flowing data through a set pattern of logic gates and execution units, making them highly optimized, but very inflexible. And then even further from these chips are quantum computers, which are based on qubits and quantum circuits, which will
Is this up or down? Yeah, but I don't want to skip steps. It's lazy in my mind unless it's directly more efficient.
discuss in future videos.
It is.
Now that we've covered the
You're not a
fetch,
doctor.
decode,
You don't need to know about the
execute
vessels.
cycle,
It
it's
helps.
important to discuss two more steps, which are memory and write-back. Memory is analogous to moving books from the SSD bookshelves.
I try to learn as much as I can, so I get where you're
and then
coming from.
onto
You don't
the
have to.
table or cache memory.
Don't feel bad.
And write-back is like writing data into the books. And when space for a new book is needed on the table, the old book is placed back on the DRAM cart and eventually returned to the bookshelves. These two steps use another special location called the memory address register and are critical to a functioning computer. But they typically take a lot longer to complete than the fetch, decode, execute steps, and therefore in some architectures and textbooks they're included in the cycle, and sometimes they aren't. We're working on a separate video on how data moves around these memory locations, so stay tuned. Now that we've uncovered the technological DNA inside all processors, it's important to note that, similar to the DNA found in the nucleus of the cell, and there being multiple layers of biological organization and structure for all living
Well, I know about exposure since I have five fucking five members of my family in medical field. I just have my mom and what she studied, and when I look through books.
If you want to dive into some of the other layers and understand more about how computers work, we recommend you check
And
out
three
Brilliant,
friends going into medical
which is the
sciences.
sponsor of this
I don't
video.
talk to my friends going into medical
Brilliant is a
sciences. Like,
massive
my friends don't really
library of
care.
interactive
We just don't
courses
chat
that
as much.
include subjects like calculus, scientific thinking,
All right. Oh, it's not over yet.
circuits, programming in Python to rather through problem interactive faster than ever in lessons. Courses focuses on
Oh.
critical thinking through interactive faster need to on or banning scanning courses will slightly more advanced topics to finish up this video. Earlier, we mentioned that the MacBook Pro's M1
And all they need,
chip
and all are
can
my
complete
D&D group.
354
So you would
different
have to talk to them.
instructions. This set of instructions is called
Mine are in any groups I hang out with.
ARM v8.4, and it's categorized by a RISC architecture or reduced instruction set computer. For example, here's a simple game of Snake using 145 lines of C++ code. It's the job of a compiler, which is a separate piece of software, to take this code along with ARM v8.4's 354 RISC instructions and generate a list of 676 assembly instructions equivalent to the machine code instructions that would be found in a book or program named snake.app. The other common architecture found in Intel and AMD chips is called CISC, or Complex Instruction Set Computer, and is composed of thousands of different possible instructions. For example, here's the equivalent Snake program that is compiled to run on an Intel or AMD chip using CISC and x86 64-bit instructions, and you can see it's only 560 instructions now. A few key differences between RISC and CISC are that each RISC instruction is relatively simple and is executed at a consistently fast execution rate. Additionally, RISC architectures are more energy efficient and thus used in all smartphones, whereas CISC architectures have thousands of different instructions and pack a lot more into a single
Okay, so
instruction.
should I
Additionally,
get
the
my
CISC
food or
instruction
just stay
encoder
home?
is much more complicated, and individual instructions
How
have
far
a
away is the
very
food?
low
And don't you have to go to the other
execution rate,
house?
sometimes taking multiple clock cycles to execute. There are many additional pros and cons to RISC versus CISC, which we'll save for yet another video, but we thought it worth mentioning these simplified differences here. Computer architecture is incredibly
Then you should go.
complicated.
Then if
with
you have to go to the
many
other
different
house,
facets and
then
layers of
go get some
complexity.
food.
And
Why not?
we have plans to make
Go do
more
what you're
videos
supposed
that
to.
dive into
But I could
each of these
still go
topics.
into house
But
to
it's
tomorrow.
important to note that each video we make takes close to a combined $1,100
Oh.
of researching, script writing, modeling, animating, and
What else you eat
editing.
today? You had the
For
fettuccine
example,
and the
we spent over 250
half a burger?
hours tearing
I'll scroll
down
up and
these
go double check.
non-working computers we bought from eBay
What else do you have?
and meticulously rebuilding each of the 3D models in Blender. So if you could take a few seconds to like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, share this video with someone who might
Only
be
had
curious
leftover
as to how
half a
CPUs
hamburger and some
work.
shrimp Alfredo.
And most importantly, write a quick comment below. It would help us out immensely. Just a few seconds of your time helps us far more than you think. So, thank you. In the final section of this
That's-
video, we'll discuss this diagram we showed earlier and the
That's like
architecture of
15 to
modern
1700
processors
calories
such as
together.
the M1. In contrast, the analogy
And that's being
we've laid out
conservative
is
with
rather
pasta.
simple,
But if it's a
and
bigger
you're
one, it might be
probably
closer to
thinking that there
17
must be
to
more
1800
components in an actual
calories.
CPU. In fact,
If you get any Taco
this
Bell, it's probably gonna be
analogy
like
is
2,000
actually pretty
calories.
close to what's
Just
happening
because
inside
Taco
an
Bell,
Apple IIe computer.
when you think you didn't
Specifically,
get a lot of
the
calories, you got a lot
floppy
of calories.
drives are the bookshelves.
Smaller
And
pasta?
then when we open up
Smaller
this
pasta, then
computer,
probably
we see the
1500.
DRAM chips,
Definitely
which are the
1500, maybe
hardware.
less, because I was going
And
off
then
conservative,
going inside
being
the
like, oh, you,
6502
I mean, not
processor,
conservative, but
we
liberal.
find an
You have a lot of
integrated
this shit.
circuit or die which
A
has
liberal
the
amount of like
corresponding
a
sections
good
that we
half a hamburger and a
organize into an
liberal amount of
internal
pasta.
architectural
So thinking to
diagram.
myself, that means
In this
definitely
diagram,
1500
you
when I
can see
assume
the
calories.
instruction decoder,
maybe even
ALU,
maybe
the
1250.
program
So it wouldn't be
counter,
bad for you to get some
current
Taco Bell. Go
instruction
get some Taco Bell.
registers, the other registers, and a few other sections.
Go get
Specifically,
the
here's
$7
where the program
value meal.
counter is used
That is
for
actually
fetching
$11.50 for some reason.
instruction.
Why is
And
it $7?
here's where the
Why is a $7
instructions and
meal
data from the
fucking
DRAM chips
14
are
bucks?
bussed in and out. Finally, here's
11
where the
bucks.
instructions are
The
decoded
fuck?
and the control signals are generated. One note is that there's no cache in the 6502 because the DRAM chips in the 80s were just as fast as the instructions. So the table in the analogy,
Oh.
which are the cart. And then going inside the 6502 processor, you're probably thinking that there must be more components than an actual CPU. In fact, this analogy is actually pretty close to what's happening inside an Apple IIe computer. Specifically, the floppy drives are the bookshelves, and then when we open up this computer, we see the DRAM chips, which are the cart. And then, going inside the 6502 processor, we find an integrated circuit or die which has the corresponding sections that will organize into an internal architectural diagram. In this diagram,
Go
you
get
can
some
see
Taco
the
Bell and go check on the
instruction
other house.
decoder, ALU, the program counter.
Also, I
current
do not have Dead
instruction
by Daylight,
register,
sadly.
the other registers,
I only had it on
and a
Game
few
Pass when I
other
was playing it.
sections. Specifically,
So hurt.
here's where the program
I'll be getting a job
counter is
soon.
used to fetch an instruction. And
I'm waiting
here's where
for a
the
callback and
instructions
them to tell
data
me what
from the
day to start.
DRAM chips are
Or just tell me
bussed
I'm not
in
working
and
there.
out.
Either way, doesn't
Finally,
bother me.
here's where
Go
the
look at the barista spot.
instructions are decoded and the control signals are generated. One note is that there's no cache in the 6502 because the DRAM chips in the 80s were just as fast as the instructions, so the table in the analogy is even smaller. As we said at the beginning of this video, the 6502 chip is made from 4,528 transistors. So let's see what an M1 chip with 16 billion transistors would look like. To start, we have to significantly increase the size of this table. Next, we have to section off areas for each of the performance and energy efficient cores, the GPU, and other areas. When we focus on one of the performance cores, we see the complex diagram.
Alright, so instruction cache, data cache. Dude, go to branch predictor, prediction, instruction feed, go to DQ code queue. So this is the instruction, data translation, look aside buffer. Then it goes to the decoder queue, which then has 4 different decoders that decode the information, allowing 4 different processes to happen in a performance core. And then they go to rename in order to rename them to properly what they are, because again, this coming out as data was 1100. Instead, you get a name for them, which would be like, which one is 1, which one is 2, which one is 3, or maybe which one happens to have it in order. 32 general purpose registers. So these are just the registers that they can compare against as many times as they need to. Program counter and system registers. So every single time this ticks up 1, and then advanced. So this will keep going up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 by like 100 per second. So advanced simmed what? And then you go to queue and port. And then there's more shit. And then then it goes to the calculator. After running through all of this, decoding and everything, like going through whatever sequencing and knowing where you're going, it goes to the branches, the ALU, and gets like multiplied and shit. Alright. Then it gets stored, and then it has low buffer.
Compares to our analogy.
I suppose.
Specifically, there's a separate set of 64 kilobyte data and instruction caches. As mentioned earlier, there's a pipeline to queue 8 instructions per clock cycle, and additional sections like a branch predictor to reduce issues with conditional branching and help the pipeline run smoothly. Here you can see the pipelined instruction decoder and 32 general purpose registers. One key difference is that the calculator is broken up into 8 separate smaller calculators, each handling a few functions. Additionally, there's a special section for load and store instructions. This is the layout of just a single core out of the 8, and there are entirely different architectures in the graphics processing unit, as well as inside the neural processing unit. One important note is that the inclusion of these 3 types of processors, along with hardware accelerators such as the Media Engine, makes this M1 chip closer to a System on a Chip, or SoC, than a traditional CPU. Similarly, all the processors in these devices, including the CPU in your desktop computer,
What are you gonna get from Taco
can
Bell
be considered
before you go?
SoCs, and therefore the difference is more a marketing term than a technical one. On a separate note, it's important to mention that the M1, along with all modern processors, are proprietary designs and knowledge, and therefore the diagrams we've shown are close approximations that we built using input from industry experts. Let's finally discuss our analogy in the terms of GPU chips found in graphics cards. We
This
have
is
a separate
fascinating.
video covering how graphics cards work, but with respect to this analogy, a GPU CUDA core is actually very similar in complexity to the architecture of the 6502. Therefore, with 10,000 to 20,000 CUDA cores in a single GPU chip, it's like having a massive array of 6502 cores. The difference is that GPUs typically use 32-bit ALU calculators and perform single instruction multiple thread, or SIMT
I'm questioning why we aren't 64-bit yet.
calculations, where a single instruction is fetched, decoded, and then distributed to a batch of cores. And then those cores execute that instruction using different addresses and data. However, there are many more nuances to SIMT and GPU architecture, so let's wrap up this video on how CPUs work. We're thankful to all our Patreon and YouTube membership sponsors for supporting our videos. If you
Very well done video, even with the voiceover being weird.
And in this view, they're wired together to build
What?
an AND logic gate.
Ah, that's the NAND. That's it. I thought that meant Zor. I'm not gonna demonstrate all this again, but if you have a NAND gate, aka N, it has a circle at the front to give it a little head, and then it powers off, and that just makes the opposite of whatever action comes out of these two in the output. So if this was gonna output a 1 for any reason as an AND gate, it would actually output a 0. If it was gonna output a 0, it would actually output a 1. Just think of it like that. Like, since this would a NAND gate only outputs at 1 and 1 on both sides. So if there's a 1 on this side and a 1 on this side, then it comes out with this without this gone, it would output a 1. But if it's a 0, 0, it would output a 0, because you need to be gated on to give it enough electricity to let it go through. But because of the junction that they use for NAND gates, it actually allows it to, for the 3 other options, the 0, 1, 0, and 0, 1, to actually output a 1 instead of 0. But 1, 1 will output a 0. Yeah, I think that's about all I had to explain. And then otherwise, you know, if the ass is curved, then I think it's a Zor. I thought it was if the nipples here was a Zor, but you win some, you lose some. Like, the voiceover, I feel like was made by AI or some shit, but pretty good.
Someone who might be curious as to how CPUs work, and most importantly, write a quick comment below. It would help us out. And most importantly, write a quick comment below.
Hello.
It would
From
help us out immensely. Just a few seconds.
Oh, hello from animators. Hello, animators.
More than you think. So, thank you. In the final section of this video, we'll discuss
how do NPN junctions work versus NGTMP junctions. Teach me, great and mighty, powerful ones.
We have two main types of bipolar transistors, the NPN and the
Bipolar.
PNP type. The two transistors look nearly identical, so we need to check the part number to tell which is which. Now, with a transistor, we have 3 pins, labeled E, B, and C. This stands for
Emitter, base, collector. So if we have emitter, base, collector. The base is what you gate. The emitter is what's emitting the electricity, and the collector is there to collect everything. So it's supposed to be like this goes in, goes through here, and if this was like if electrical pulse goes through here and there's an electrical pulse here, it'll allow it to go through this whole transistor to go out through the collector side. Otherwise, if this is not gated, then if there's electrical pulse at one, it will not allow it to go out the other side. So that's how you get your 0, your 1, and then what comes out, right? So say this is an AND gate, right? Well, I don't know if NPN and PNP transistors can. No, yeah, they are AND gates. So say that this is a 1 and this is a 1, and this is an AND gate, then this is going to output a 1. But if this is a 1 and this is a 0, then this is going to output 0 on the 3, which the 3 is your collector. The collection of the output of said transistor.
for the emitter, the base, and the collector.
As I said,
Typically, with these resin body type transistors with the flat edge, the left pin is the emitter, the middle is the base, and the right side is the collector.
as I said,
However, not all transistors.
not
use
you're
the
he is
resin.
right. He is right. In the Navy, I did get to use a transistor that was not. It was not emitter base. I think it was Beck. What was because I was like, Becky, the fuck's up Becky? And he was like, oh, those are Becky transistors. Grab me one of them. I was like, for fucking what? He's like, oh yeah, with the fucking circuitry over here. There's a circuit board on the left side, on port side. It was pretty interesting. It was interesting being in the Navy and just see him soldering random shit on a submarine, just sitting there, just looking at him. He's like, yeah, this is something that you'll have to do. This is just something they want me to do on my roving watch, so I decided to do it on watch with you. Because I wasn't going to do it later, and I'm going to do it now. I'm like, cool. Next time I had the guy, we went and we shifted to the EPM because they just decided that they're going to do a lot of things with me. I'm going to keep getting fucking crazy shit happening. I was like, it was fun to learn and actually understand what you're doing. The machine, know the machinery you're using, exactly what the schematics are. Like this fascinates me to know that this is happening on a micro scale. This NPN junction is about that big, right? It's the size of my fucking fingertip, but it's able to transition electricity on a nano micro scale to give me a CPU. Kind of wild to me.
So do check the manufacturer's datasheet. Pure silicon has almost no free electrons. So what engineers do is dope the silicon with a small amount of another material,
Boron?
which changes its electrical properties. We call this P-type and N-type doping. We combine these materials to form the
A
PN
PN junction.
We can sandwich these together to form an NPN.
All right. So we dope a P-type material with positive doping. We dope an N-type junction with negative doping.
Or
Right.
the PNP transistor.
NPN,
Inside
PNP.
the
These are the
transistor,
junctions I actually care
we
about.
have the collector pin and the emitter pin. Between these, in an NPN transistor, we have 2 layers of N-type material and 1 layer of P-type. The base wire is connected to the P-type layer. In a PNP transistor, this is just configured the opposite way. The entire thing is enclosed in a resin to protect the internal materials. With an NPN transistor, we have the main circuit and the control circuit. Both are connected to the positive of the battery. The main circuit is off until we press the switch on the...
I was wrong. Flip the collector and emitter for my explanation. If you are watching this as a VOD afterward, just flip it. Sorry about that. I thought the collector collects the electricity coming from the positive side. The emitter emits the electricity and will give you the actual gating of it.
The control circuit. We can see the current is flowing through both wires to the transistor.
So because he has activated this switch, without the switch being activated, remember, let's go back. As I explained before, without this being, so we have the C being the one that accepts the electricity and will let it go to the E if B is activated. But right now we don't have the switch to show electricity going through either side. The base is not electrified. If the base is not electrified, then the junction will not allow it to go through. So what you have here is this electricity is ready at any time that this bridges to go through. At any moment in time you activate the base with a little bit of electricity, ready to shoot some electricity and fire. So that's what the circuitry here does. It has a resistor to protect to drop down the electricity so it won't burn out your transistor, but also drop electricity to the LED. And the LED is meant to drop resistance even more, and the switch is meant to be there to make sure you protect the base from gating too hard or gating too early or gating too late. All right, that's what, like, the switch is there to activate, but you need those other two to make sure the electrical impulse will not destroy your transistor. And then you have your main circuitry, which again, it's an orange, yellow, black, brown. You can go Google it yourself to see what that is. I'm guessing that's like fucking mega, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. Anybody want to fact check me? I'll go Google it right now, but it doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is we're dropping the voltages, we're dropping the currents, dropping the voltages down so that it can gate and have a good amount of electricity go through for a good electrical pulse. When he pushes this down, immediate electricity is not going to go through here first. It's going to go through here and go to gating the B, which that's the base, gating the base. And then this electricity will be allowed to go through here because this is gated, basically an electrical pin, right? Electricity pins it open to allow this to be the where electricity wants to go the most. But as long as the switch is held, the base will be open and gated.
Battery. The main circuit is off until we press the switch on the control circuit. We can see the current is flowing through both wires to the transistor. We can remove the main circuit, and the control circuit LED will still turn on when the switch is pressed, as the current is returning.
It goes through the base to the emitter.
In this simplified example, when the switch is pressed, there are 5 milliamps flowing into the base pin. There are 20 milliamps flowing into the collector pin, and 25 milliamps flowing out of the emitter. The current therefore combines in this transistor. With a PNP transistor, we again have the main circuit and the control circuit. But now the emitter is connected to the positive of the battery. The main circuit is off until we press the switch on the control circuit. We can see with this type that some of the current flows out of the base pin and returns to the battery. The rest of the current flows through the transistor and through the main LED and then back to the battery. If we remove...
Does anybody on stream want to explain to me what the fuck I just saw? No. Burrito, drive safe, please. But like, what? How does a PNP, right? This is a PNP junction? What? So you negatively gate, which means that you ask for electricity through the negative, it'll activate. But if you're not asking for electricity through the negative material, then it won't gate on. Huh? So, I don't know.
The main circuit, the control circuit LED will still turn on.
What the fuck?
In this example, when the switch is pressed, there are 25 milliamps flowing into the emitter, 20 milliamps flowing out of the collector, and 5 milliamps flowing out of the base. The current therefore divides in this transistor. I'll place these side by side so you can see how they compare. Transistors are shown on electrical drawings with symbols like these.
Yep.
The arrow is placed on the emitter. The arrow points in the direction of conventional current, so that we know how to connect them into our circuits. Okay, that's it for this video, but to continue...
I get it, but I don't get it. So due to doping. Dude, this shit's complicated. I learned all of this 30 plus years ago in college. Do you think I remember any of it? Thanks for the refresher. I'm still struggling with the concept of PNP and NPN junctions. Electro Boom! Yo, give me Electro Boom teaching me.
Yes, I know transistors are like Michael Jackson of electrical components and everyone knows about them. Although really, it's the capacitors who are the king of pop. I know you might be scared of transistors' complexity.
Shut the
Do you
fuck
know
up,
what they
Boom.
really are?
Nah, just
Just a
don't.
bunch of variable resistors, a bunch of electrical potentiometers.
Very smart,
If the
intelligent man.
potentiometer was on
This guy's gay.
mushrooms. But really, they're just resistors you can adjust by providing them with a suitable input. Mind you, their resistance is not linear. You can't connect them backwards like regular resistors. There are different types and sponsors. Sponsors? Oh yeah, this video is sponsored by Brilliant. Learn complex math, science, and computing easily using Brilliant's interactive courses from my link below. More at the end.
I love that every electrician. I want you guys to look. I want you guys to pause this. I have 2 oscilloscopes downstairs. How many oscilloscopes do you fucking need? 1 oscilloscope, 2 oscilloscope, 3 oscilloscope, 4 oscilloscope, 5 oscilloscope, 6 oscilloscope. All right, brother. And how much does this cost? This one's a $2,500 one. That's like a $22,000 one. That's a $2,200 one. That's a $2,200 one. That's like the one behind it was like $3,500. How much money did you spend on oscilloscopes, my brother in Christ? What are you fucking doing?
There are many different types of transistors.
I don't expect to have to buy an oscilloscope for the next 2 years. Even after that, I'll buy another one, and it'll be one massive one. That works. That's mine.
Stands for bipolar junction transistor. It's just a name for a type of
bipolar junction transistor is the one that's NPN and PNP. Well, bipolar is being two types of a pole.
Same as a regular silicon diode. If you have watched my diode video, you know how diodes work. We have a positive or P and a negative or N semiconductor fused together, and that's a diode.
Yep.
Now imagine we also fuse an N to the P end of the diode,
Whoa!
and a P to the N end of the diode. And that's
Whoa!
it. We have a BJT. If a PN junction was a diode, then these are like 2 diodes in series and act as such. Not quite. Yes. This behaves similar to 2 back-to-back diodes, but this is not equal to this. Also, it looks symmetrical on paper, but for example, this is an actual cross-section of a BJT transistor.
Oh. Huh. Interesting. So the collector is always doped more. Or it's either collector or the emitter is doped more. One of them have to be doped more than the other. The base is always doped more than whatever the middle one is, it looks like.
Forget what you saw, it doesn't matter. Don't look at it. Look into my eyes. Don't panic.
It's not scary. Dude, that shit's easy.
How the transistor behaves so we can use it. Let's focus.
Did I just explain to you guys how this worked without watching the YouTube video first?
But although that's true, the transistor is designed such that in proper operation, only one of those diodes is in use. And so, this is its symbol. The terminals for a BJT are called base, the terminal connected to the middle semiconductor, emitter, and collector. The reason behind the naming convention is nobody cares. Despite the fact that this is an NPN arrangement, flipping the collector and emitter doesn't work. Well, I've seen it work, but pretty badly and not to the component specifications. So no flipping. You saw the cross section and it is not symmetrical. Don't look. Okay, so here's how it works. if you place a positive voltage across the collector-emitter terminals, then if you pass some little current through the base emitter diode by placing, say, 0.6 volts across it, magically, it is like opening a valve between CE and a much larger current flows from C to E. The more current into the base, the opener the collector-emitter valve gets, and so more collector current. That's why I said BJT is like an adjustable resistor. End of story. No, there is
Oh.
Let's give it a try. I have a generic 2N3904 transistor. I place a 1 kilo ohm resistor.
I was taught that it was an on or off. They said for our purposes, it's either on or off. There is no in between, but there is an in between. Navy, you didn't tell me the right information. I remember that one. You said on or off. I was like, okay, good. It's a light switch on and off.
And adjust the input voltage. The voltage value across the resistor is equal to the base current in milliamps. I place a 1 ohm resistor from collector to a 5 volt supply. The voltage value across it is equal to the collector current. Base current is around half a milliamp and collector current is 66 milliamps. Change the base current to around 1 milliamp and the collector current is around 87 milliamps. So like I said, we typically have a large collector to base current ratio, which is a factor we call beta, or as more commonly used in data sheets, HFE for some reason. Just remember the names. And of course the emitter current is the sum of base and collector currents. But with the base current being much smaller than the collector current, we often assume emitter and collector currents are equal. But this beta thing is only almost constant if the transistor is on and is in active region. What is active region, you ask? Well, the behavior of the transistor changes based on the collector-emitter voltage. Let's measure. Same setup as before, but I'm providing a fixed base current. And instead of a fixed collector supply voltage, I have an alternating voltage between 0 to whatever. I measure the collector-emitter voltage and collector current. Here you go, x-axis is VCE and y-axis is IC. You see the collector current rises with collector-emitter voltage kind of like a resistor in this area up to around 0.2 volts, after which the collector current is almost constant for a large range of VCE. And then, changing the base current, you can adjust the collector current. So this is what we have for the current versus voltage, a graph changing based on the base current. The region after this dotted line where the collector current is almost constant is called the active region. And the region where the collector current starts dropping because VCE becomes too small is called saturation region. The regions are named as such after... Nobody cares. I don't remember
I remember this.
why, and this is not a history lesson, we just want to use it. In
So they
active
teach us it.
region, the
They just told us don't
collector
care
current
about it.
changes so little based on the CE voltage that for simplicity, mostly we assume that the collector current is just constant. In electrical engineering, you'll notice that to keep sane, we simplify by ignoring small little things and design to get close to what we need, which is mostly good enough. And if it is not, we use adjustable components to fine-tune to almost exactly what we need. And this quarter area of operation is what the BJT transistor is designed for. If the VCE is pushed too high, the collector current starts to go up, combined with the high voltage, overheats and kills the transistor. If VCE goes negative, well, do you remember when I said BJT was like two back-to-back diodes? Well, a negative VCE results in the collector-based diode to turn on, pulling large currents from base like this, which is useless and bad, and we avoid bad. So far, this was all about the NPN BJT, but how about PNP? Well, PNP is just a complement of NPN with the diodes reversed and behaves exactly the same, except voltages and currents are in reverse. Here's its symbol. If there is around a negative 0.6 volts of base emitter voltage pulling current out of the base, we would have a collector current flowing, say, beta times larger than the base current. And the collector current to DCE graph looks like this. Voltage and current are just in reverse. And that's it. That's all you need to know for now. This much information is good enough for most your applications, and above that will get complicated in a hurry. We will get there if you prove yourselves worthy. For now though, we should know enough to throw some good circuits together. Let's do an amplifier. Well, I haven't told you enough to design a proper amplifier. But this doesn't stop us from my favorite process, trial and error. Here's the circuit. It's not a proper amplifier, but a simplified Class A amplifier, good for a one-off example. We already know it is an amplifier because it amplifies the base current to beta times at collector. But we want to amplify voltage. The input voltage goes to base and output comes out of collector with some gain. We don't know enough yet to calculate gain. It doesn't matter for now. First thing we do is we
I forgot how to calculate gain. Fuck that.
DC operating voltages and currents around the circuit, and the AC signals will ride over those DC values. This circuit is a common emitter, meaning that the transistor emitter is connected to a DC fixed voltage.
I was gonna say, I remember this.
Here is ground. We choose what are the best bias values for our operation. Starting from collector voltage, the best voltage for an amplifier is right in the middle of the supply rails. That way we get the maximum AC voltage swing without distorting the signal. See, the maximum a transistor can do is either being fully on or off, which means the output voltage here can go close to zero or supply voltage. So if the collector voltage is close to one of the supply rails, the output voltage clips at a lower amplitude. If our supply is 5 volts, then collector voltage is 2.5 volts. And for the collector current, let's pick 10 milliamps. So with 2.5 volt on collector resistor, this means the resistor would be 250 ohms. But closest I have is a standard 270 ohms, which means collector current is around 9 milliamps for the same 2.5 volts. Good. So now we can calculate the base current. Looking at the datasheet, HFE not only changes significantly by the collector current, even at a fixed IC there can still be a huge variation. That's why we should design a circuit that doesn't rely so heavily on the inaccurate transistor parameters. But anyway, let's assume HFE is around 200, so IB should be around 45 microamps, and so the base resistor would be around 97 kilo ohms. I have 100 kilo ohm though, and my resistors can be 5% off. Let's just put the circuit together. Okay, looking at the collector voltage, it's 2 volts or 3 volts across the resistor. So this means my collector current is closer to 11 milliamps. So for 2.5 volt, I should change the resistor to 227 ohms. Well, I have a 220 ohms. With 220 ohm resistor, I have closer to 2.5 volts. So now I feed the signal into the base. Issue is the DC component of a signal generator can load the base voltage and throw the bias off. So I add a 10 microfarad capacitor between them to isolate the DC voltages while the AC will get through. One thing though, how big can the input signal be? Base emitter is a diode and its voltage versus current is like this. If the signal is too large, the base current is not linear and the output signal is distorted. For minimal distortion, we should keep our signal small so the base current remains relatively linear. Here I have a plus minus 5 millivolt input to the circuit, and if I probe the output, that is on a 2 volt scale, you see I have a sine wave inverted from the input riding on a 2.5 volt bias voltage. Now if I get rid of the DC component, change the scale, you see for the 5 millivolt peak input I'm getting around 300 millivolt peak output. So I have a gain of around 60. I could connect a microphone to it and amplify my voice. Well, I'm using a subwoofer speaker as my microphone.
Holy shit!
Umbrella. Now, only looking at the output voltage, if I increase the
That's my
input,
vocals?
you see, we start seeing the
That's what it typically
distortion
looks
I was
like?
talking about more and more until the signal hits the rails and clips. See,
Won't it
I
break?
haven't got this far in Electroboom 101. I feel like I can throw circuits together with more confidence, knowing that if you follow the series, you can figure out what I'm doing. And of course, don't forget about my sponsor, Brilliant. I always recommend it to everyone because I see how interesting and
There more to
interactive it
this
is
thing.
and how it keeps people engaged in learning anything
Alright, let's
from
remove.
logic and computing to science and math. Brilliant has thousands of interactive courses from intermediate to advanced levels with an exclusive new one added every month. My daughter engages well with logic and analysis courses and quizzes, while
These are lessons? Bro, this just seems like a funny ass video to me. Other people be studying. Hello, stream. I'm back. Alright. An op amp? Oh, fuck you. I'm done. I'm out. Sorry. I would watch some Electro Boom, but he said op amp. Nah, bro. You said op amp. I'm done.
or operational.
I'm done learning for today. I'm done. You can bring up one fucking nightmare from my past every single day. They can do it. And now I'm done. You brought up a nightmare from my past. I'm fucking done, bro. Give me this Kage the Dawn kind of type bullshit. Alright. I'm gonna hit you guys with this intro before we start. Okay, so boom!
Okay, so boom.
Yeah!
With Minato pulling up on these cloud ninjas ready to get this. Now,
It is lagging like a motherfucker. Hello, PC?
during this time, the political climate of the shinobi world was not the chummy, let's be friends, sweet stuff we all had come to know. These ninjas of this time were really beefing left and right about anything and everything. Our tail beast is weaker than yours? Squabble. You rock with the Uchihas? Squabble. You don't rock with the Uchihas? Squabble. To make things worse, the talk no jutsu wasn't even invented yet, so the only language universally spoken between all these ninjas was the throwing of the hands. Killer Bee and the future Raikage were eyeing him down, ready to get their lick back for when Minato had previously stopped their recovery mission of the Nine Tails. But the NPC they brought with them today does not want a single crumb of the knuckle sandwich Minato was about to give them. He talking about some, that's gotta be Alicio Flash.
We gotta retreat right now, don't you think?
But A is a very stubborn man known for his speed. And on top of that, he's a melanated king. He takes pride in being fast. You think Bolt would turn down a challenger of this magnitude? Absolutely not. not. So there will be
I
no
would.
turning away. Come, you know what time it is.
I ain't finna get cooked in my own fucking nation.
Now I love how confident A was, but he was in for a rude awakening because Minato was nothing like anything he's ever seen before. Do not let his 1980s Let's Do a Line Before the Show rockstar hairdo fool you. He gets down with the best of them, and Minato was about to
Do a line before the show.
This one was gonna be personal, so he instructs his squad to stay out the way, then throws his kunais at multiple trees. So the Raikage gears up for the battle, and now his infamous blue aura is covering his body. He decides to try and draw blood first by charging directly at him with his fist cocked back. But my goat Minato was so unmoved by his speed that he waited till the very last second to teleport out the way. Look at the sauce. Nigga had all the time in the world. But he let that
He even flipped his kunai, bro.
He could sniff the dookie residue off his fingers and had time to flex on him a little bit with this nonchalant kunai flip. And please,
Yeah, he got it.
that nigga was disgusted, but he wasn't done yet because after embarrassing him, he zipped back in behind him, grabbed his kunai, and got ready to slice his back open. But right before he could give him a nasty wound, one of the A-Tail's tentacles comes flying in, swatting him out the way and taking the slice instead.
That shit is cold, cuz.
But I completely lost it when this man said, "Forgive me."
You doing all right?
Nigga, don't do that. You are not slick. He tryna slip the embarrassment like we didn't just witness what happened. You doing alright? Brother, are you doing alright? Look how he had you. Head back almost touched your ass. Damn near had you folded up like some origami. The emergence of the A-tail tentacles must have been way above what they were originally prepared for. Because the leaf ninjas in the distance immediately blew the whistle, meaning it was time to retreat. But look at how fast these ninjas left Minato behind. Battle was about to be so dangerous they didn't even want to be a witness. Got out of there with the same quickness that I left every class that involved math once the bell rang. Now even though the whistle sounded, Minato was not gonna leave without giving Ace something to think about. So he stopped dead in his tracks and turns back to say, "I'm gonna chalk it up to those braids being too tight, but don't ever in your life come at the GOAT speedster like that again." He dead said that. I'm trying to tell you, he's cold. Those parting words must have had the Raikage ready to tear his head off. So of course, he charged towards him with the same exact attack style, fist drawn and all, ready to redeem himself. But instead of teleporting to another kunai like he anticipated, this demon teleported behind Killer B, ready to end his life. Yeah, wrap it up. Find something safe to do. The bot was trying to tell you they don't call him the Yellow Flash for no reason. Your
The bot was trying to tell you.
Equivalent to the Cowboys winning the Super Bowl. Zero. But not only is he quick, he's witty too. Because this man was thinking 3 steps ahead the whole time. It turns out when B intervened to save A, Minato marked his tentacle at the same time. Now that is what we call a big brain play. Now, as great as this moment was, I did not get to bask in it very long because here goes B trying to be the next Jay-Z. I'm prepared for a mutual strike, so should we stab each other with these spikes? Bro, just roll the outro.
I don't really know her name. I don't really know her name. Shawty calling me a goat.
The scene kicks off with Minato dodging a ginormous fireball. He is currently in the middle of conducting the bell test for his pupils Kakashi, Obito, and Rin. Now, I don't want to name names, but from the looks of it, it looks like it's gonna take a miracle for some of these niggas to pass. After that first giant fireball, Obito sends a bunch more smaller ones at his sensei, but of course, Minato flips around them like it's nothing. Minato, now feeling insulted by that weak-ass attack, decides to whip a bunch of shurikens in the direction of the fireballs. And I kid you not, those couple of kunais that didn't even hit him were enough to knock him off balance and put him flat on his ass.
Oh
Minato
my
then
god.
jumps towards him
What
and
the fuck?
annoyingly tells him to pack it up. Nigga didn't even give him a chance to redeem himself.
You're done, Obito.
Yeah, you hear it, he's tired. He's trying to wrap this up as quick as possible. Got Kushina tooted up waiting for him at the house. He doesn't have time for these childish games. But Obito was not working
Bro.
on this attack. Those fireballs were only a diversion to set up the real play. So he vanished behind his smoke.
Bro, that's my wife? Shit, bro. My son might have to die at that point. I might give up on that one.
But as he landed on another branch. Rin
But
tells
no,
Obito to
no,
fuck Kuda
no. I'll respect
all its inhabitants. So he sets
if
Kuda
Kushina was in there.
directly at Minato. But
Naruto
one night tells
definitely
Minato
get his
that
ass decapitated and
he
killed.
could've finished One Piece
And,
twice
you
by
know,
the
both
time he
pairs
got
give
it
up.
within arm's
Like, we can
reach.
make
So
another one.
Minato calmly threw his kunai to the opposite side and popped up behind them, quickly
If I didn't know
leaving
that this
them
had to
behind.
happen,
These niggas
that
really
he
thought
had to keep
that
Naruto alive.
this plan was gonna work. Look at them celebrating. Talking about some no attack so weak I don't want to hear a
Couldn't be
single
Minato.
word from them moving forward. But Sensei, how now that Minato was done handling these bums, he knew it was time for the real
But none would
fight
ever
to
be the same
commence.
as Naruto, so I'm
He
happy
began
they
to
came.
look
They
around,
kept him alive. You know what I mean?
Kakashi to let his presence be known. And lo and behold, a kunai zips at him with immense speed, meaning it was time to kick off the main event. Kakashi quickly rushes in and tries to stab Minato, but that jump gets weak. Minato then deflects another attack, then begins to backpedal while Kakashi tries to overwhelm him with an array of sword swings. And I am not gonna lie, he had Minato locked in. Keep the concentration, this is not no cakewalk. Minato decides to put an end to the sword barrage by charging to block his sword, but Kakashi did not come to play around. That boy wasn't even trying to participate in the usual stalemate banter. He just quickly jumped back and whipped a paper bomb at him. Minato of course jumped out the way, but while in the air, he noticed Kakashi had already planted even more paper bombs below him. Oh, nah,
The GOAT.
young Kakashi was on a
Takashi's the
mission.
GOAT for a
That man
reason.
himself, he was never the same. Even though Minato was stunned a little bit, he still easily managed to evade the explosions by teleporting to a tree. But Kakashi
Once I have
is
kids, I
still
can't kill
on that
myself.
ass like my
I'm not allowed.
university hounding me for that tuition
Can't
fee.
let 'em-
If
can't-
y'all
they
are
can't see me
watching
go
this,
out that
you're
way.
not getting the money back, nigga. Leave me alone.
Straight
Kakashi
up.
then hits him with a barrage of kunais, which Minato easily deflects. But while deflecting them, Kakashi pops up behind him and surprises him with a solid kick to the chest. Minato blocks it and swats him away, but Kakashi zips back in to give him more work. He blocks another kick, weaves this kick, then almost gets his bells took. The fact that Kakashi was able to fondle his balls like that, deeply aggravated Minato. So he knew it was time to wrap this up. So he yeeted Kakashi off the branch. But that was shockingly just a shadow clone. The real Kakashi was on another branch higher up in the trees, ready to hit that nigga with the nastiest Chidori known to man. But before he could hop down and shock the life out of Minato, this man pops up behind him spitting some hot shit in his ear, talking about some
I told you, you can't beat me. You lose, Kakashi.
And once he turns around, he sees that Minato has a kunai to his neck. Check. Mate. Yep, I know. It don't
And
get
that's
much
why
saucier than this, man.
he
I
to go.
can't lie. It turns out that during their hand-to-hand exchange, Minato marked his ass with his formula. And as we all know, once you get marked, you are cooked. Now, I know this fight was technically not canon, but it did such a great job of showing the actual skill gap between these ninjas during this time. Minato needs a whole flashback arc to himself, cause this nigga was just cold as ice. Kakashi was just out there doing regular Kakashi things. Been a goat since the day he popped out the cat. But Obito, on the other hand, is where things get a little rocky. He didn't come into the game as a #1 prospect. He had to put in a lot of blood, sweat, tears, and some Hashirama cells to surpass his peers. And when he got his chance to finally have people put some respect on his name, he did not disappoint.
Oh, the scene kicks off with Minato comforting Kushina shortly after giving birth to Naruto. They over there gazing into each other's eyes, all lovey-dovey, but Minato cuts it short to start closing the nine-tailed seal. But right before he can close it, two bodies drop to the ground. Then we see a masked man holding Naruto, looking like he's ready to rip his face off. You gotta be a really mad man to threaten a lady. Obito tells Minato to step away from Kushina before he ends Naruto's life subscription prematurely. But this man Minato's still not moving. He just frozen with his inner dialogue. Talking about some, how the hell did he get past the barrier? Who is he? Go do something. Let Let's ask these trivial questions later. About who is he?
Nah,
the
bro.
man who's about to murder your baby. As the nine-tailed seal continues to grow weaker and weaker, Obito grows more impatient, so he pulls out a kunai on Naruto in an attempt to get Minato away from Kushina. Minato tries to talk no jutsu, telling Obito to stay calm, but that junk did not work in the slightest. Obito, tired of not being taken seriously, so he throws baby Naruto in the air, then attempts to stab him, but Minato quickly grabs him out the air, only to find out that that was Obito's plan all along, because as soon
Now
as
you're away from your
Minato
wife.
lands with Naruto, Obito detonates the paper bombs that were stuck to the back of his blanket. This man have no shame. He was ready to blow up a baby for what? And do y'all see how many paper bombs he had stuck to him? He was ready to turn him into confetti. Damn. Minato quickly takes off the blanket and throws it into a random house, causing it to explode. As to why he didn't throw it into the direction of the forest, I have no clue. Someone's gotta do a research paper on heroes destroying the property of innocent civilians, cause it never made sense to me. I suggest the first case study be done on the Avengers. Them boys will chuck your brand new 2024 Honda Civic at a villain just to miss. Do we have a heroes damage fund? Cause who's paying for this? My insurance is not gonna believe that Hulk threw my car at a building at 3 p.m. on a Thursday. While making sure Naruto's safe, Minato realizes that he's gotta find Kushina before it's too late. But he notices he has a piece of wood stuck in his leg, so he pulls it out and tosses it in the air. But before it can even hit the ground, he's gone. Now we see Kushina tied up between these rocks, looking like she about to get into some kinky BDSM time. Then she decides to ask Obito what he wants. Kushina, you know good and well what he wants. You think he tying you up to get the recipe to your peach cobbler? He wants the nine tails. Obito tells her that he wants the nine tails, and her response to that is, you can't. But you know what's crazy? He actually can. The camera then cuts to Minato putting Naruto to bed, and for someone who moves fast as hell, he sure is taking his sweet time rescuing his wife. He out here explaining the situation to Naruto like he understands. Naruto, please be
Babies understand more than you expect.
Go and rescue your mother right now.
Brother, shut up and go. He don't know what you're
A
saying.
lot of babies nowadays have more memories of their childhood than most adults do, which is kind of wild. And like more like, but I mean like when they were the same age as the kid, they just the memories are getting better, but for some reason dementia's getting worse. You know what I mean? What the fuck's that?
If they had me locked up like this, I'd be pissed off too. Like I'm just chained and pinned down.
How are kids able to remember when they were 2 and 1 now, but can't remember fucking 2 plus 2? The fuck's going on?
Sends the nine tail to end Kushina's life, but right before he can squish her like a bug, Minato pulls up, snatching her from the rock in the blink of an eye. He too cold, he too quick. Call that man Usain Bolt. That man is faster than the speed of sound. Thought his girl was gonna be an easy lick? I don't think so. He gotta raise his son. You not packing up his girl tonight.
I'm not gonna lie.
Minato teleports Kushina
You need to leave
so she can spend as much time with him before her mother free trial expires. Ready to go handle business.
I love when they call it a free trial, bro. Free trial to expire. I'm like, fuck.
Too clean. Minato definitely up there with the top.
Same shit I got on my. Don't ever forget, your boy is the one and only. Where's my fucking? Sorry. I gotta put this back. Sorry, I just had to whip out the gotta whip it out, you know, a little bit. I just want to put it on my chair, you know. I just had to whip it out real quick. Just put it on my chair again. Yeah, Hokage, bitch. Fucking Hokage. I will be the #1 Hokage. Believe it. Nah, couldn't be me. Oh yeah, hold up. Stream, I got time. You know I got time. I need nicotine gum left. 75% sure of that. Oh, do you see me? Oh god, it does not look great on my TV. On my screen, what I'm doing. Put me in there. Yeah, I guess I gotta go ask them for more. I think I'll ask them for nicotine. I think I asked for And nicotine patches. Why? Because patches will make it so it's easier to don't have to chew gum. Don't even have to think about it. All right.
Rolling through the town, but Kakashi stops dead in his tracks and says,
Get some nicotine gum.
Man, his dramatic ass.
And this will be the first day without any nicotine gum, which will be good. And then tomorrow will be one of the days where I bring it up. And then hopefully within the week I get some nicotine gum and patches, and then it'll be up to if I need to take it or want to take it.
You done packed up your whole clan and take that baby inside. Why did I just hear this little boy say, "This an odd night for mom and dad to be out"? So they just left their newborn baby and this boy home alone. Yeah, somebody call CPS.
Finally, they show the last man to get that same spidey sense. But the third Hokage got the most confidence of them all. Cause as soon as he got that tingling feeling, he says, "It can't be." Can't be what? How are you getting this information? But then again, he's old as hell, so he probably done seen some things. His spidey senses are probably the most accurate of them all.
Eventually, we see Obito touch down in the Leaf Village. And when he does, he summons the Nine-Tailed Fox. Kurama immediately gets busy and starts tearing up buildings while sending a whole bunch of NPCs.
Yo! That is still so sick.
Negative 19 level drip. Listen,
like, y'all don't even understand. That's the reason why I watch Naruto. That one scene right there, that animation style, everything, is so fucking cool.
Guy and Kakashi get word of what's happening in the village, and of course my dog Mike Guy is on go. He doesn't ask a single question. He just immediately starts emoting. Before my guy could take
He
off,
just starts emoting.
This no-name ass Leaf Ninja stops him and says, "Subscribe to the channel and become a member of KTD. You already made it this far.
If you haven't subscribed yet, this man's right here. Not even just for black people, just fucking good content. Gotta get it done.
We must meet in the guard room. The third Hokage orders it, and of course the Hokage's name holds weight, so they stand down. But something about Kakashi's attitude rubbed me the wrong way. He was way too quick to agree. Not even a millisecond after those instructions were given, Kakashi says, "Well, you heard him. Let's go, guy." Not even a little pushback. He not trying to be in the field for real. Guy is the only one really about that action.
I'm not gonna lie. I see that. I'm pretty fucking brave. I like to say I'm pretty brave. I like to say I'm pretty courageous. I'm mostly willing to put my life on the line for most people just doing some crazy shit. It doesn't bother me. Don't hurt. Stream, do you see how big that motherfucker is? You know, I used to have a fear of heights. Well, it wasn't really a fear of heights. I just kept getting nauseous every time I got up to a high point. It made me feel ill to be high up. I can imagine being on the ground. Looking up at that would probably make me feel ill as if I was standing on a fucking skyscraper. So I don't think I want to be anywhere near that thing. You know, I think I'm too sick to... excuse me, I'm too sick to fight this fucking 20-story tall fucking creature. This mythological being that most people have never fucking seen in their lives. This is the first time they've ever seen the Nine-Tailed Fox for most people. Every kid there is probably sitting there crying right now like, oh my god, there's a giant fucking monster. There's a goddamn kaiju here. All I know is the whole ground shaking, the power is going out, and there's fire going up everywhere. I think I'm a little scared. I'm not fighting this. If I was Kakashi, I'd be so blessed to have a fucking guy say, "Run back! It's too dangerous for you guys here." Yep. It's too dangerous for me here. I'm a lowly fucking Jonin. It is too fucking dangerous for me here. That is a Kage level threat. That is a Avengers type threat, not just a world class threat. That's an Avengers type threat. You would bring Hulk to go fight this bitch. Fuck you need me for? Nah, not me.
Nine-Tails is still in the village wreaking havoc, so a couple of Leaf Ninja NPCs devise a plan. One of them jumps.
Hey, I hate to say it, Connecticut, you gone, Brody.
But he eats those and swats him away. Two more jump up and pull out the same exact move, and they get swatted as well. Then another two jump up and pull out the same move just to get swatted like the others. What makes it even worse is the confidence they did this move with. He got up there and said, "Your battle's here with me, brother."
Brother, my brother in Christ, you ain't doing shit.
It feels like all hope is lost. The man of the hour hits us with another clean pull-up.
Yeah!
He knew that jump was too clean.
Drippy, drippy.
Ninetales torched the village for a bit longer. Just
Hey, Drippy with it.
Because Minato has so
Yeah.
much aura,
Hey.
the Ninetales spots him and boots
Minato
up
know what
against
you
his
games.
bomb, then sends it his
Minato
way.
not what you
But Minato
games.
uses
He
his
playing the part of the
transportation barrier and
flames.
redirects the blow. Right before he can go join in on the battlefield, a hand pops up behind him ready to grab his shoulder, but Minato stay on go, so he immediately swings his kunai at the masked man's head, but it goes straight through. Obito then tries to suck him up with his overpowered Kamui, but Minato is able to teleport on out of there. Obito wastes no time teleporting to him, and this is where the real fight begins. Obito gears up by putting on these chain bracelets, then charges straight towards Minato. Minato tries to stab him with his kunai, but it goes right through him. Right before he could get snatched up and squeezed by them chains, he teleports on out of there. Minato over there doing his calculation and finally figures out that he becomes solid when he attacks, so he knows he has to time his moves perfectly. So he throws a kunai straight at Obito's head, which goes straight through him. As soon as the kunai fully passes through his skull, Obito reaches out to grab it. But that's when we see Minato boot up his Rasengan, teleport to the kunai he just threw, then I don't think I've ever seen a Rasengan
Sick,
this
nasty.
Look at this explosion. This man definitely got level 67 scoliosis after that. While hitting him with the Rasengan, he manages to put a stamp right on his back.
6'7".
Somehow Obito was able to survive that blow, but clearly not by much. This man
Hopefully
is
Burrito's not here anymore, or he'll say some crazy shit.
looking like Frosty the Snowman when summer starts to hit. Tragic. Minato emerges from the smoke, and Obito immediately gets to glazing. He applauding Minato for his speed and IQ, saying that he never seen that blow coming. But to be quite honest, we do not care. And neither does Minato. He not with the talking, so he teleports to him and stabs him in his
You
guts.
tried to kill my wife.
Why he thought
You
not
tried to
to
kill
be
my
able to
newborn
have
son.
a little chit-chat. He just
You
threatens
put
to
the
hit him
nine-tail
with
fox
the
out
kunai,
on my
tried to
entire
blow him up,
fucking
tied up his
village.
wife, and let the nine-tail fox out on the whole Lee village. And he thought
Yeah.
Minato was just gonna let that fly. Nah.
Nope.
While stabbing him, Minato puts a
Flame in
contract
that
seal
ass.
on Obito and releases the nine-tail from his control. Obito getting cooked real bad right now, so he finally decides to retreat, but not without telling Minato that he'll be back for that rematch and that yellow-haired, big-headed brat in the future. He really never said that big-headed part, but I'm sure that's what he was thinking. Look at the size of his noggin. Damn. Even though he didn't kill Obito, he still got the W by saving his son and his wife. And now they get to be one big old happy family. Yeah, nah, she dead as hell, and so is he. But hey, at least Naruto grows up to have a great life. Damn, this family can't catch a break, like...
I don't really know her name. Shawty telling me her name. I don't really want to know. Men are not okay. What? Were they? A 41-minute video on this shit? Yo, you gotta add that to queue. Add that to queue. We might just watch that right now. He really pulled an op amp out, and I went, fuck no. I was like, you want me to learn how to make an op amp? Do you understand how complicated those triangles are? We call those the Doritos of hell. Because you never knew. All you knew was that a 14 volt went in and somehow a 12 volt came out the other side. And then some shit happened in between it to make a fucking... Wait, I don't fucking know, bro. Op amps, magic. If I cared that much, I would. But I think I'm just gonna watch this.
Okay, so boom. The scene kicks off with Lady Chiyo, Sakura, Naruto, and Kakashi pulling up on the lethal Akatsuki duo.
I'm gonna do this until 8 o'clock, so like 9 more minutes, and I'll end off the stream. And then hopefully my friend Kugi is streaming.
Now I understand that Gaara is seen as a Leaf ally, so the need to ride out for him should be heavy. But once we get a close look at the demeanor of each member of this 4-man squad, it is very easy to tell who's overly invested. Chiyo and Sakura are over there in the back chilling, scoping out the scene. Kakashi's nonchalant ass looks like he's trying to wrap this up as quick as possible so he can get back to reading his dirty novels. And that is when we get to Naruto. The boy got his teeth
clenched, ready to crash out. Ninetales chakra slowly starting to ooze out like it's not that deep. Wait, I know this man is not booty cheeks to chest with Gara. I take back everything I said. You gotta whip the ponytail out this man. Do what you gotta do. And that is exactly what he does. He wastes no time whipping out his scroll, summons a giant shuriken, then launches it at Saucery's head. But that man swiftly blocked it with his metal tail and says,
Are you trying to make me angry?
and ironically enough, that was the exact question I wanted to ask him, because what the fuck is going on with the hairs on your head? This cut is so devious that it needs an explanation. Nigga, is your barber Stevie Wonder? How did he mess you up this bad? Buddy gave you the Jalen Brown boneless braid special. You gotta fight him. And as if I wasn't already perplexed and annoyed enough, Sakura decides to open her mouth talking about some. He blocked that shuriken without even looking. Bro, hop off. The block was not that nice. She acting like he swatted that from the back. It was literally coming at him sideways. You never heard of peripheral vision, bitch? I can see this nigga concentrating hard as hell. How slow are you? You know what? I apologize. I told myself this would be the video I give her flowers. So I am gonna try my best to keep the hate to a minimum. After
Nah, bro.
Lady Chio finished glazing
Flame the
Sakura,
fuck
him and
out of her.
Deidara get into a slightly heated debate on whose art is better. And to be honest, both their junk is ugly as hell. I didn't forget about them creatures he was making during his battle with Sasuke. And as for Sasori's puppets, bro, look at his head top. Do we really need any more evidence? Now, it started off as witty banter, but the argument becomes a bit concerning when Deidara stands up and says,
Art is one thing and one thing only. The explosion itself.
now when I tell you my heart dropped to my ass seeing him lob that piece of clay in the air like D-Wade to Braun on a fast break, I thought he was about to paint that cave red. We know how Deidara Bin Laden gets. He's not afraid to set it off. But to everyone's relief, he simply enlarged the clay bird and swallowed Gara. In the most disrespectful way too. Why is he out here chewing on him like a piece of gum? Sitting on him was already nasty work.
That fucking commercial used to make me so uncomfortable. I'm like, what the fuck are these things? Everyone's like, this is claymation. It looks so cool, so amazing. I'm like,
staring each other down, and you can tell Granny Chio.
have you seen what they're doing with this shit? Like, Elmer was cool. Elmer Fudd was cool. With his dog.
Murdering every square inch of her body as we speak, so she's been ready to log out the server. But Sakura, on the other hand, is looking like me checking my bank account after all them bills come out. Spooked as hell. You would have thought this gremlin hater with the most devious glare from his Mangekyo Sharingan. But nope, his pupils are regular as hell, and she's out here trembling and shaking with these loud-ass nervous gulps. Like, how are you scared and the nigga didn't even do nothing? I'm telling y'all, she's trying to take her off the squad. Granny Chio can feel her nervous energy, so she quickly reassures her and lets her know that she got this. So like the OG she is, she steps forward and fires off the first attack. She whips out her giant kunai chain, throws the force down, then launches those kunais at him. Now I know Lady Chio's vision is probably a little shaky, but I was praying to the heavens that all those kunais would miraculously chop off the atrocity going on his head. But
it is not.
unfortunately, my request was swatted out the air when Sasori deflected the kunais with his metal tail. Sasori can now tell that the two of them aren't gonna back down, so he has no choice but to turn up the heat. And now we're looking at this man on all fours with this demonic looking mask on his back. Granny Chio then begins to go into an in-depth explanation on how Sasori's puppet works, stating that it's simultaneously his armor and weapon, commonly known as Sasori's special Hiroku. But her explanation was abruptly interrupted when Sakura fixes her mouth to ask this dumb-ass question.
You need to know a lot about it, Lady Chio.
Even Lady Chio was fed up. Peep the side-eye she gave her. Side-eye of disgust, side-eye of disappointment, side-eye of please kill me now, we stand no chance. She politely lets her know that she knows everything about the puppet, but I know what she really wanted to say. We are from the same hood, and this is my grandson. Yes, I know everything about the puppet, bitch. The Alzheimer's didn't kick in yet. Sasori soon interjects and starts explaining how he prepared the body of puppets, talking about some...
First, I drain its blood, then I remove all the organs.
That's
That's enough, Jeffrey Dahmer. We don't need the whole rundown, you sicko. After wrapping
I
up
do.
his explanation, he then threatens to turn Sakura and Granny Chio into one of his puppets. And to me, Sakura makes sense. She's young and nimble. I'm sure you can make something great out of her. But Granny Chio, come on, man, let her rest. She's lived a long life. Chio then devises a plan to beat this nigga's ass, saying that they're gonna have to rely on Sakura's strength. And that's when a tear immediately rushed down my eye, because I knew they were good. A plan that heavily relies on Sakura, just go ahead and wrap it up. We seen what she can do. She's garbage. Hey, bro. Chio then devises a plan to beat this nigga's ass, saying that they're gonna have to rely on Sakura's strength. But that is completely okay, because Sakura is that girl and is undeniably ready for any task.
Was that good enough? Like, I can do it again. Let me know.
Chio finally wraps up her A1 scouting report by letting Sakura know that she has to dodge all of his attacks, as just one slice from his tail will indeed knock her off the map. Lady Chio then gears up her battle by taking off her headband and shaking out that crusty purple bob. Then she starts talking that junk to Sasori, saying that his battle experience doesn't compare to hers, so he knows.
She's like, I'm done being Granny. Now I'm Chiho.
Then leans over to Sakura and starts whispering the details of her plan, and this alone deserves a round of applause. Ninjas actually using the element of surprise. Who would have thought we'd see the day? You're telling me it took a 856-year-old shriveled up old lady to show us how it's done? Shaking my head. With the plan now clearly explained to Sakura, Lady Chio and Sakura both charging towards Sasori with shocking speed. Like that bag of bones was really running like a track star. I was very impressed. But Sasori is smarter than me. He knew not to underestimate Granny. So with no hesitation, he ripped off his mask, opened his mouth, and proceeded to shoot a bunch of darts their way. But this ninja Sakura is juking, dodging, and flipping around them with ease. Okay, Sakura, talk to him. Let them haters know you nice. You're her biggest hater, though. But shut Granny Chio is out there doing her thing too. She over there hitting the merengue around them darts. They not messing
Hey,
around.
look at Chio go.
Those darts for a hot minute. I am not exaggerating one bit. Like, look at this girl hitting the little Kim around them darts. They cooking. Eventually, Sasori runs out of darts. And to my astonishment, there is not a single scratch on Sakura or Lady Chio. They just standing there staring this nigga down. And peep the little attitude change. Sakura is feeling herself now, and rightfully so. I can't lie, she's starting to cook right now, and we haven't even seen no offers from now.
Barrel bowl fucking spaghetti.
Lady Chio and Sakura cook up like this, it would have been foolish of me to think Sasori would stop there. So when he slowly extended his cannon arm from under his robe, I was not surprised at all. The cannon quickly flies off his arm and releases a bunch of purple gas while also shooting more poisonous darts. But Sakura and Chio are still gliding around them without breaking a sweat. They even got their eyes closed. Oh, not. She gotta get drug tested after this because she's moving different. Once they've
She's gotta get drug tested because she's moving different.
Charges right at him while Chio stays put. She then throws
Bro.
her at him, which gets deflected. Then he shoots his tail at Sakura. But as soon as it reached within a centimeter of her nose, his tail could no longer move. And that's when Lady Chio gives Sakura the okay to bust his back open, and that's exactly what she does. She balls up her fist, cocks that thing back, and hits that nigga so hard that the boulders started falling into the water outside the cave. Okay, Sakura, this how you cook off. She put her back into that punch. God damn. I can't call you useless ever again.
Alright, I always get to take care of my dog. I've been having a great time with the stream. I'll catch you guys next time. Tomorrow will probably be more of an Overwatch 2 stream. Probably some Code Lyoko before. I might stream some Code Lyoko tonight, but yeah. Otherwise than that, peace out. And I'll catch you guys after whenever I'm done being alive.